just what you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Bass, so despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Continue to coach. If he's let go, there'll be a lot of suitors knocking on his door for that as well.
Here's an interception for good measure. It's picked off by Bullock. And Rodgers is in his way, trying to make the tackle. Can't. And it's a touchdown, Texans.
Continue to coach. If he's let go, there'll be a lot of suitors.
ESPN is just a real shame. You feel for him. Now, for what it's worth, it was sort of a shame because I had him covering, and it only means that there's a minimal amount of life for Kyle Ottenheimer at the bottom of the table because of it. But still, I'd rather the Steelers lose every time. And so
yeah, but it's also like, how the hell did we lose to this team?
yeah, okay, so there's a few layers. By the way, it's Glenn Clark Radio. That was from ESPN last night. Steelers season ends. That's just.
Yeah,
just
when did
too
Jalen
bad.
Petrie become Kyle Hamilton? Like,
I don't know if he's Kyle Hamilton. I don't know.
He was everywhere.
30-6, the Texans beat the Steelers. They will face the Patriots this week. Now, we all know the Texans' defense was very good. We also know that the Steelers have been dealing with the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger. And, yes, it's what makes the Ravens' defensive effort against the Steelers last week in the second half so pathetic, and part of the reason why we knew it was probably time, because there's no justifying this. And, look, again, if somehow John Harbaugh had Zach Orr forced on him, maybe I would have a level of the way that I'm defensive of Kevin Stefanski about certain things. But John Harbaugh chose Zach Orr and stuck by him, and it didn't work. And I'm not expecting that the Ravens should have had the Texans' defense. The Texans' defense is very good. Now, we all also watch the same game. C.J. Stroud is regressing. C.J. Stroud is worse. They couldn't snap a ball last night. It's embarrassing that the Steelers lost 30-6 to a team that had no functionality offensively. But, I mean, I don't think the Steelers are good. It's a very complicated conversation we talk about those teams in particular because, like I said yesterday, if Mike Tomlin were to be available, he'd be at the top of my list because I think that Mike Tomlin is working magic with what it is that he's got. I don't think the Steelers are good at all. The ghost of Ben Roethlisberger, one wide receiver, and that's it. And some half-decent pass-catching running backs. They don't have anything. And yet there they were in the playoffs again. So I do feel that way about Mike Tomlin. Is Mike Tomlin going to be fired, or is he going to step aside? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, everybody said the same thing about John Harbaugh, right? There's no way John Harbaugh is going to be fired. He would have to choose. Well, we saw what happened. What are the Steelers going to do? We'll find out. Like, if Aaron Rodgers really is done, and if he's not, then maybe the Steelers should encourage him to be done, because they did everything they could possibly do with Aaron Rodgers this year. Frankly, more. They exceeded what was in any way reasonable to think they were going to be able to do with this version of Aaron Rodgers. So if you're moving on at quarterback, I understand the thought process of, well, we should probably move on at head coach as well. And it's not always that you pair quarterback with head coach. And there is a question as to whether or not, because, again, they're going to be drafting at 21. What are you even going to be able to get in a down quarterback class at 21? One of the things that I've said a few times is the Steelers probably be well-suited to just, like, suck for a year. Just suck. So they can draft a quarterback. It's maybe the best argument for firing Mike Tomlin is, like, let somebody else be the coach so you're not accidentally good again next season. When you have God knows who is your quarterback. Like Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't even know who else would be in play. Kyler Murray.
Tua.
Tua. He'll figure out a way to win 10 games with those guys. So if you're the Steelers, suck. Like, just choose to suck so that you don't accidentally win those games. But I don't feel about Mike Tomlin the way that I felt about John Harbaugh. I don't. I felt like John Harbaugh was not getting enough from what he had to work with. I think Mike Tomlin is getting far more than what he has to work with. And I get it. It does matter that he hasn't won a playoff game in a decade, but all of these things exist within a vacuum. Like, you weaponize it because it's the thing that you want to say in order to fire him. And it might be why the Steelers would choose to move on from Mike Tomlin. But was there any reason to believe that any of these Steelers teams in the last decade were worthy of winning playoff games? Were they worthy of being playoff teams? With Mitchell Trubisky or Mason Rudolph or Landry Jones or insert name here. Again, the ghost of Aaron Rodgers, the ghost of Russell Wilson. What about any of that? At the end, it was the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, everyone's going to point to this.
Yes, correct. They haven't won a playoff game in a decade. I get it. I do understand. I assure you. It's at 7.
Yes, now it's
4 last night. I completely understand. But tell me why they should have been winning playoff games with who they had. That's the issue that I have. But if you're a Ravens fan, would you rather he stay or go? I don't know. Like me, I would say I'd rather they go because I think that Mike Tomlin's going to get more out of a group than, your average coach would. And who knows? Maybe they hire Clint Kubiak, and I'm despondent about it. But I don't know.
I guess but why would Clint Kubiak
want to go to
place
Pittsburgh
where there's no quarterback?
Right. Well, maybe the Ravens don't want him, and maybe that's just,
yeah.
He's looking at that. We'll talk to Brock Huard later on in the show about what Clint Kubiak might do. Coming up today, we are going to continue to dive in on Ravens head coaching candidates. Brock Huard from out in Seattle, former Seahawks quarterback, will join us to talk about Clint Kubiak. And we'll go to Cleveland as well. Gerard Cherry will join us, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, and we will discuss Kevin Stefanski. And I guess we now have to discuss Jim Schwartz. I can't believe Jim Schwartz is actually a head coaching candidate as much as, hey, we want to talk to you because we think we should. And maybe try to get some good vibes to see if he would be willing to come home to be defensive coordinator. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Jim Schwartz, who I've said before, has been never given enough credit for what he did with the Lions. We all talk about Dan Campbell like the Lions were garbage until he arrived, forgetting that they were garbage until Jim Schwartz arrived. And while Jim Schwartz never made them a Super Bowl contender, he did make them respectable, and I don't think we give him enough credit for that. And, obviously has been an outstanding defensive coordinator as well. But before we do any of that, we always try to do this when the season ends. Obviously, last week we had a lot going on, and so we had to push it back to this week. But I'd like to catch up with our next guest to just get a primer on the Ravens offseason. You, of course, follow him on social at Ravens Salary Cap. You read all of his stuff at RussellStreetReport.com. No one does it better than our buddy Brian McFarland, who is back with us this morning here on GCR. Brian, it's Glenn. It's always good to chat with you. I mean, I wish, obviously, one of these years we could do it like around President's Day. That would be kind of nice, but thank you for taking the time for us as always, pal.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Brian, I guess let's start with the obvious, right? Like, how much of this conversation revolves around Lamar Jackson? And I know you've laid out the various scenarios that could play out here, but how much volatility for the Ravens offseason, whoever the head coach is, centers around what ends up happening with Lamar Jackson?
99% probably, because there's not a lot of other options that they have to create cap space. They have some other options, I should say, that aren't very good options, but so it really all comes down to Lamar and what happens with his contract. They basically have two options. Obviously, the best option is extending him. If they run into a wall, they could always restructure it. That's going to make the future look even worse, but that may be their only option at that point. Certainly hope it doesn't come to that. Feels like this should be a lot easier than the last time because fully guaranteed money is off the table, which was a big sticking point the last time. There have been no contracts, no quarter. There have been a ton of quarterback contracts since then. None of them come out fully guaranteed. So that Watson deal, and of course we know how that flamed out, historically. So I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, but people have various thoughts on Lamar as his own agent. He did a great job.
Yep.
I'll give him credit for that. He
Yep.
did a great job, but sometimes having an agent makes things go a little more smoothly, and get things done. I guess that benefits the Ravens. People will say that maybe that benefits the Ravens, but it's just something that obviously they have to get done, because all the alternatives are way worse.
So if it were to be, just so that everybody understands, when you say they could restructure, obviously that would be pushing money back towards 2027. There's nowhere else, I assume, to go from there. Like, what would that tangibly look like if you had to do it?
Well, it would, he's got a $50 million salary, so I don't think they would restructure all of that. But if they restructured 40 of that, let's just say, because that makes the math easy for me. But so he has this year, next year, and then void years after that. So that would spread that 40 out over the 4 remaining years. So that would reduce this year's number by 30 million. So that would be a substantial savings this year, but that would technically put 10 million on each of the next 3 years. So it would add 10 million to next year. So instead of, it's going to be the same cap number, presently the same cap number as this year. So it's 74.5. So that would make that 84.5. But it would also, there's about 29 million in dead money for that void year. So that would add 20 to that. So you're looking at 49 million. And this is everybody wanted them to get, do these newfangled void years. Well, we haven't really seen we saw it a little with OBJ's contract, but
right.
But now we're going to because the Matabike's got them, and obviously that's another issue for this offseason. But it makes it that if they have to do it, they have to do it, and if it comes down to they're not getting anywhere, but and they could still redo his deal after that. If it, kind of like last year, or the last time I should say, it didn't happen until April, and they were conducting off-season business, obviously starting at the new league year in the second week of March. So, that would be ugly if they have to do that, but they may have to, because there's really not a lot of other options there, to create space.
Brian McFarland, Russell Street Report, is with us here on GCR. Brian, to you, if they're able to get an extension done, what does that look like most practically?
Well, I mean, it's going to be, he's got to be pushing 70 million a year probably. I think Dak Prescott's short of that, but the cap's gone up. That Prescott still got the highest average per year, but that was now 2 years ago. So cap's went up substantially last year. Fingers crossed it goes up substantially this year. Obviously it helps every team, but when you're tight against the cap, it helps it more. It's more dollar for dollar than in that case, because you really, really need the space. So, it could be pushing 70 million. It would still, that's going to be, he's going to get a $80 million signing bonus, something like that. Actually probably create less cap space than a restructure, but that they're not worried about that so much, because just getting it done and hopefully making it a little more palatable in the future, so you don't have to do this every 3 years. You can restructure it in the future because you need to. That's kind of the way quarterback contracts always go. But the being forced to, as they are now, and keep in mind that in 2 years after 27, he negotiated a no franchise tag clause. So that really, you want to get it done this year, because he's got all the leverage already anyway, probably. But if you're trying to do this, if you just have to restructure him this year and you're trying to do this next year, you might have to trade him, honestly, at that point.
Jesus.
Because if you can't get a deal done, there's
right.
there's no sense in you get what you can at that point. And nobody, I certainly don't want to think about that. Nobody wants to think about that. But I mean, that's the leverage he has.
Boy, I'm not ready to entertain that.
I know.
I'm just not ready to be there. But I understand exactly what you're saying. All right, we'll shift because you brought up Nnamdi Madubuike, and I feel like that is sort of, and I know obviously today is Steve Bisciotti and Eric DeCosta meet with the media. They'll be asked about it, and maybe they'll say all the same thing that John Harbaugh did, which is we can't say anything. And I do think that like there are, HIPAA rules and things like that until Nnamdi Madubuike says something, they just might not be able to say anything about it. But what is the reality for the volatility of, is Nnamdi Madubuike retired? Is it unlikely, but he still wants to grind it out and wants to see if he can keep playing? How does this impact the Ravens, whatever path this ends up taking?
Yeah, so he has $22 million. His salary is guaranteed. It's $22 million, fully guaranteed. So he's entitled to that, whether he's healthy or not. If he retires, he's giving the Ravens a $22 million gift. He doesn't have to do that. He's certainly in no way obligated to do that. So if he's not healthy, even if he can't play ever again, even if he's not trying to grind it out, they've got a couple options. He will probably, I think the most likely is he would stay on injured reserve all year. He would get his $22 million, so it doesn't help their cap. It doesn't hurt their cap this year either. It's what he's scheduled to make. And then they would do in 27, they would do a post June 1 release and spread out the dead money that's there. It's about 30 million in dead money after the 22. So, I think it's 29 actually. So, it's obviously it's a terrible situation for him, but from a cap perspective, it's a disaster for the Ravens. But this is what happens when somebody has a career-ending injury, and this is why players fight for guaranteed money, because it's money he won't be seeing. He could, he's, I think, what's he, 27, 28 this year, maybe. He would plan to be playing for maybe 8 more years. Who knows, and that's money he's not going to make. So that's why you get that guaranteed money, because football is a volatile sport, 100%. Obviously.
And again, to your point, like he could sit back on the roster until his contract is up and claim the money that is owed him every year.
That's the only one that's owed. So that's the only one. This is the only one that's guaranteed.
Got it.
So that's why they would, if they did, they could do a post June 1 release. And there's the, they could restructure his deal because they need the cap space. Again, you're making the future worse. So you're basically turning, 20 of that 22 million into a bonus to spread out over the next 4 years. It puts more money into the future. But if they need the cap dollars, this again, best worst option for them. If they really, let's say they can't get Lamar done and they don't want to restructure Lamar because it just makes his numbers even worse. Maybe making Madubuike's numbers worse is a better option. Yeah,
it's not great. I understand.
No.
It's not great. Let's go over a couple other players that I think there's been a lot of angst about, and let's talk about their realities related to their contract. Let's begin with Roquan Smith, who I know there's a little bit of a difference between his number, but it still seems like it's not practical to think that when someone's got $25 million in dead cap that you're going to be releasing him.
Yeah, I think, and I can imagine Marlon's the next name coming
exactly
up.
Right.
So
yeah,
I think because of that, it's sunk money, it's dead money, you've already spent it, it's already on the cap. So releasing Roquan creates a little over $7 million. That's not insubstantial. I know we as fans, think about, oh God, all that dead money, but it's already a sunk cost. So, and it's already on his cap number. So it's really not, his cap number is 32 million, almost 33 million. So I think he'll still be around. Marlon's a different question, but I think, but teams don't like to have fans say, what's all this dead money, that we can't use that. So I'm not saying he won't be cut. I could see it possibly because 7 is not insubstantial. And again, there's all the pieces of the puzzle. If you can't get something done with Lamar, you don't want to extend him. You don't want to restructure him either. You're just going to leave him at the 74.5 million and worry about this next year. Then you're going to need that money from elsewhere, and maybe that's Roquan, maybe that's Marlon as well. So I
assume they are approaching both of those guys and having conversations with them, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, Roquan's a little. I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Roquan is, I think, he would be. I mean, do you want to extend him?
Yeah, I get it. Right.
I mean, it's. I mean, the only thing you could do is extend them or pay cut.
Right.
Now he could be restructured, but that is adding more dead money on to next year. Now next year it's only a little under 13. So if you restructure him, you could add, if he's willing, you could add void years to spread that out a little more. So it's not just because 17 is the last year of his deal. So you could push some money into 2018 by adding void years. So that's certainly, I think, a possibility there. So you're extending his contract in a way, but you're not extending the number of years. Mm-hmm. So next year would still be his last year. Because if you're extending him for 4 years as a real contract, then you're paying him. Maybe you're not paying him the $20 million a year he got last round, but is it still 18? Is it 17, 16? It's still going to be substantial. Yeah. And you're creating, you're giving him a big bonus then. So why not just restructure him and spread that out and not really create more of an obligation down the road?
But you think that maybe Marlon's a little bit different?
I think Marlon's different because, I don't think anybody was super happy. Roquan had some good games. I don't think Marlon had any good games. Let's be real. Yeah. And while he's been, a great Raven and all of that, I think the only chance he's back is a pay cut. His salary is, he's got a little over 19 million due. And teams aren't going to pay 19 million in cash to a guy that doesn't deserve 19 million in cash. So going back to the dead money, it's still, he's about 7 million in savings as well. His dead money is not as bad. It's about 19, still not good. But you got teams also think, do I want to pay 19 million in cash to this guy?
Right.
That is a consideration that we as fans, we always focus on cap number and this and that, dead money, but 19 million in cash is way too much. So they did this with Stanley a couple years ago, and it worked out really well. And Marlon does seem to be on this every other year. He's really good, and the next year he's hurt.
Yep.
And they have to first make. He's 30 now. He'll be 30 next year. They've got to make a judgment on, does he fit anymore? Is this going to be? It's an every other year thing.
Is it just over? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he's probably more likely now. He could be a post June 1 cut. Roquan could too, but the cap savings from that, with Marlon would be again just under 19, or just over 19. I'm sorry, and Roquan would be about the same, but that Roquan's 20. But that would not happen. You don't get the cap savings until after June 1st.
Right.
So that doesn't do you any good. Now you can use that for your
walking around money.
Cap.
Yeah,
you could spend that you could spend to the cap, because that will be your future. You generally need about 16, 17, 18 million for your practice squad and injuries and all those kinds of things that come, once training camp starts. So, so you could budget it that way, and that's going to be your nest egg for those kinds of things, and that should cover everything. So, and then you could just spend everything you have till then. But I do think, short of a major pay cut, I think Marlon's gone, and then it's just a question of are they going to do it? They're going to cut it and not push money into next year, which means 19 million dead this year and a little over set, but still 7 in savings. So again, not insubstantial. Or if you do the post June 1, you get 19 million in cap savings this year, but you put about 12 million in dead money on next year's cap with the post June 1 release.
Is there any good news that you have, Brian? Is there anything that
I really don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I assume that's it for players on the roster who
Yeah, it's really, I'm working on my big article
Yeah.
for the preview, and there's really not, and I mean, and we touched on Matabike. If Matabike is healthy, he's going to be restructured because and they can spread the money out. I mean, he's perfect for that. Now but obviously that's not a great option here. There's really nobody because of the way uh, they've really kind of gone all in with some of their contracts. Henry's going to be in the second year of his contract, usual, and same with Kyle Hamilton. Usually, that second year salary bumps up. In the past, they've done that, but they have added void years, and they're both basically making the minimum this year. So you can't restructure the minimum. There's no cap savings there. There's no way to restructure those. Bateman's making the minimum. There are a couple guys they can cut. I think Broderick Washington is easily cut. That's $4 million in savings, so that's good news, I guess. It's not a lot, but every little bit helps.
But they're also thin on the defensive line, so
True.
Yeah.
And if he had a good year, he would probably
correct.
still be here because he's not really expensive. He's only about a $6 million cap number. So normally be like, that's great, rotation guy, that's a good number.
100%.
And I'm sure that's probably why John Jenkins got his deal. But Andrews, again, first year of his deal, so he's making the minimum. There's just not a lot of options out there. I think Cooper Rush will probably be cut depending upon obviously who the coach is and what kind of offense they're going to run. But that's only about 500,000 in savings. So there's just really not many options, and that's why I said when you get to Lamar, it's 99% on him, and then Roquan and Marlon what they're going to do there, and how they handle Matabike, if he's just going to stay as he is or go from there. I mean, there's just not a lot of options.
And so how does that impact? So let's wrap this way, Brian. How does the Lamar situation, the Matabike situation, impact their own free agents? I think a lot of people have worked under the assumption that Linderbaum would be tagged, and maybe you're going to tell me I don't even know how they can do that, right? But
they could do that. I don't think they will because the franchise tag is based on all offensive linemen.
Oh,
so the franchise tag for Linderbaum would be like $25 million because you're talking about left tackle money.
Forget it.
And the top center is about 18.
And that's why they didn't do the fifth-year option, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So now, I guess he had an up and down year. I mean, if he had a super year, maybe you consider it. I saw somebody saying that, the Chargers have a huge amount of money out there, and
their offensive line is,
and if assuming Roman is still there, that he's a perfect target for them. And Jim Harbaugh would probably like to tweak the Ravens a little bit after firing his brother. So he's going to have a market for sure. And maybe it might push 20, but that's still better than the 25. And you'd rather have him on a long-term deal at 20 than 1 year deal at 25 and have to deal with this again next year, because that to franchise him again a second time would be a 20% bump on that. So you're certainly not doing that. The good news, I guess, if there's any, and of course we don't know really where the salary cap's going to come in. The range I've seen is from it was just under 280 this year. The range I've seen from 295 to like 310. That's a huge range. I've been kind of focusing on 305, which is on the higher end of that, but that's the same same percentage bump from the prior year. So that would give them about 33 million.
Okay.
In cap space.
Okay.
For presently, and again, presently is all up in the air because we don't know. So I mean, but it could be 23 because if it's 295, it's 23, which isn't a lot because again, just your in-season expenses are going to be 16 to 18. So, but if it's 33 and you're planning to do a post June 1 with Marlon and you got that 20 sitting there for the future, then you've got 33 to spend. And of course they're not even at a full roster. They're 48 guys. 2 of those guys void. That's DeAndre Hopkins and Tylan Wallace.
Okay.
They void March 2nd. If they get extensions, they can keep spreading that money out, but that's between the two of them. And they're already on the cap, so it's not going to change. It's not going to cost them more, but it could lessen that void money. So that's a possibility. I don't know if they would extend either of them. I don't know if either of them want to be extended.
Yeah,
at this point.
that's
Obviously,
a fair question, right? Yeah.
And Hopkins probably being the one because he's searching for a ring. Wallace has been here longer, and he might be more inclined to stay. So I mean, there is some positive in that, and again, we're hoping the cap is in that more than the 305 to 310 range, and that would be helpful. So there is some money there, but it's not. I mean, so yes, if they could get Linderbaum to a contract, they would probably a $10 million for $8 to $10 million first year cap number. They can certainly fit that in. So there are they can re-sign some guys. I don't unless they get Lamar done and figure out some of these other guys. I don't see them going outside and bringing in a big. If they get Linderbaum done, that's probably the best of their and Lamar taken care of. That's probably the best of their offseason.
And probably no Isaiah Likely either in this scenario.
No, and I would think he's probably going to be looking for. I mean,
Kohler. The Kansas City Chiefs just scream his destination, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, if they could get Kohler back on a reasonable deal at tight end, I think that's probably a more likely.
Yep.
That are more probable. I'm using likely too much here, but scenario. So every time I write a tweet about Likely, it ends up being his name and then something about Likely. Something's likely,
really,
and I'm like, okay, I gotta stop doing that. I'm not doing it on purpose.
There's a really terrible Drew Forrester joke that's regularly in there that I'll leave alone as well.
Okay.
Brian, obviously everything surrounds Lamar, and that's what we're going to be watching. And as you referenced, the big off-season primer, is that going to be this week at Russell Street Report?
Hopefully or sometime next week. I think that with this press conference today, there's going to be a lot of discussion of this.
Fair.
So hopefully by early next week. I'm kind of aiming for Monday to get it out. So that'll be there. If anybody, there is an article on Russell Street Report about the options for Madubuike. There are a couple more options that we discussed. I think we discussed the most likely ones. But that article is there from a couple weeks ago. And there's also a preseason, a shorter version of the off-season article that has basically more about the roster and things like that, not really the cap implications. That's there for people who want to take a look at that. And then obviously I'm on Twitter for that. And then the big article will come out, or X, I should say.
Of course. At Ravens salary cap.
Salary cap, yes. Yeah. And then the big article should be out next week. It's about 10 pages on Word, so it's long, it's involved,
but it is incredibly informative. It is very helpful. When that comes out, I'm gonna be back in touch. I'm gonna have you come over and join me on WBAL as well. And have a conversation there. Brian, always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for doing
Absolutely.
this. Let's
anytime. Sure.
It's Brian McFarland.
Have a good day.
You too. RussellStreetReport.com. Nobody better at diving in on where the Ravens are heading into the offseason. Appreciate him taking the time for us as always. And yes, the short of it is it's all about Lamar. Like, that's the short of it. But it really is why, like, you have to understand he has all of the leverage. Your entire offseason is determined by what happens with Lamar Jackson and whether or not they get an extension done in the next couple of weeks. Like, they have a very finite amount of time. And then if they don't, what is their decision from there? Because when the offseason begins, Lamar Jackson's on the hook for $74.5 million. That's money you can't spend either on your own guys or to try to make upgrades somehow outside of the organization. CountySports.zone is where you find everything you need to know about high school sports here in the state of Maryland. Scores, schedules, rankings, all of it. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Now, back to the head coaching search. And we are trying to dive in on head coaching candidates. And as you saw my big board yesterday, number 2 on my big board is former Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. So let's talk more about whether or not Kevin Stefanski would be a good fit in Baltimore, and maybe we'll talk some Jim Schwartz as well We always turn to this man whenever we're talking Browns. He is, of course, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, part of the Browns radio network. He is our friend Gerard Cherry, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Gerard, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always good to catch up, brother. Thank you for taking the time for us.
No problem, man. Hope all is well with you out there in Baltimore.
Everything is good, and I think the last time we talked was right before I took my family out to Cleveland for that second Ravens-Browns game, and my God, we could not have had a better time. I mean, just a wonderful – it was windy as hell. The game was kind of, unwatchable for most of it, other than the Mark Andrews play, which was fun. But everybody in Cleveland was good to us, save for one drunk, but you're going to get that everywhere. We had Browns fans invite us to our tailgate. I could not say enough wonderful things about my family's experience in Cleveland, man.
Well, that's good to hear, because I was worried for you and your family.
Yeah, I know.
You never know what you're going to get.
And I tell you, my 8-year-old son, we were walking up, because I didn't tell him. I surprised them. I didn't tell them what we were doing. They didn't know why we were there until, obviously, they started putting 2 and 2 together. And then, as we're walking up to the tailgate party and he sees nothing but Browns jerseys, my 8-year-old son had a panic attack. And he literally turned around and was starting to run in the other direction. Said, "We can't go there. They're going to fight us." I said, "Buddy,
we're socially aware."
Yeah, we're going to the game. If we're going to be around we got to be able to do this. And I'm telling you, wonderful, wonderful experience. Made some amazing memories with my family. So greatly appreciative of the hospitality of the folks in Cleveland.
Yeah, no doubt. There's definitely some great people here, but there are some knuckleheads, no doubt.
And look, man, I get it. Trust me, if I was a Browns fan, I understand. I understand the frustration. I do get it. Gerard, let me start with were you surprised? Because remember, we did talk about Kevin Stefanski's future, and we chatted that time. Were you surprised the Browns pulled the trigger, or did you feel like they kind of, at this point, had no choice but to move on, given the results of the last couple of seasons?
Gosh, it was such an ambivalent situation, because on one level, somewhat surprised because we talk so much about collaboration here in Cleveland and what Kevin has done as far as creating a situation in Cleveland where it's no longer dysfunctional, where guys were working well together, and he was the best coach we've seen here since 1999, the return. So that part of it was a little bit mystifying in that, hey, he's had the best and most success since 99, and at the same time, the offense has languished and has not gotten better over the course of 2 seasons, and you only improve a point in regards to how much you score from 15.3 to 16.1, which is not even a full point, I believe. So that also explains a lot of things in regards to, hey, the offense was not getting better. The team was not winning more games. And as the owner, Jimmy Haslam, said best, winning 8 games in a span of 2 seasons is horrible. And unfortunately, that falls more on Kevin's doorstep than anyone else in the organization. So that from that vantage point, I do get it.
Everything that you just laid out is part of why I don't weaponize Kevin Stefanski's overall record in Cleveland against him. I tend to go the opposite way and say I think it's a miracle that Kevin Stefanski took 2 Browns teams to the playoffs. Like the way I've said it is that feels like in a different organization almost going to the Super Bowl twice, right? Like I think the exchange rate of Kevin Stefanski's win-loss record in Cleveland is like a significantly above 500 record with a lot of places. Am I being too fair to Kevin Stefanski when I say it that way?
No, you're not. And what you're going to find if Kevin, your number 2 choice, is actually who they hire, that's, again, you're asking the wrong person as far as saying anything negative about Kevin Stefanski. You have nothing but love for Kevin, consider him a friend, and wish him nothing but success. And I had the same viewpoint as well, that considering how woeful things have been with the organization, overcoming 1-31, and then a bad year after that with the next guy you hire, and then finally getting some stability with Kevin Stefanski and making it in the playoffs your first year, and then taking a situation where you had 5 different starting quarterbacks and finding your way in the playoff, and then having forced upon you a quarterback controversy and situation. And I'm talking about 2 quarterback controversies. Obviously, Deshaun's was for off-the-field situation, and then obviously the Shador, Dillon, Flacco, and Pickett scenario. Yeah, you some could say, well, it's still his job to coach those guys up and win football games. But yeah, you're right. I think you are right in that regard. That what he was able to accomplish in those confines is extremely impressive.
Let me bring down, because what you brought up, if people are willing to accept the record and understand that situation, there are still specifics that you allude to that I think people have questions about that I want to dive in a little bit more on. And the first, I think, is what happened this year uniquely with Shedeur. And I do think it's clear that, like, Shedeur wasn't his guy, but there's a big difference between someone not being your guy and what looked to the outside like you might be sabotaging him, because I do think that's something that, like, he would have to answer to for the Ravens and specifically for Lamar Jackson, who did not trust his last offensive coordinator. Can you explain more clearly what happened? Did we overreact to the wristband thing? Did we overreact to the frostiness in the way that they would talk about each other? How do we define the relationship between Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders and whether it should be concerning wherever he ends up next?
No, I don't think it should be concerning, because one of the things I think Kevin is willing to do is collaborate and acquiesce for the betterment of the team. And he's not going to make it about him first and foremost. So you got that going for you. And as far as Shedeur is concerned, I mean, put it in its proper perspective that, one, he was a 5th-round draft pick, and Dylan was, we all perceived, Kevin's guy. So we know how the pecking order goes. 3rd round is going to play over the 5th round if they're close. Now, if there's a gulf between them, then, yeah, now you're going to put the 5th rounder in there and let him do what he needs to do. And ultimately, to Kevin's benefit, once Shedeur got in there, it was clear that he was the better option. You didn't see Kevin not publicly, I don't know what took place privately, but not publicly, not support Shedeur, and not, again, and I found this out, that they were meeting privately to have two meetings together to go over film work. So it wasn't like he abandoned Shedeur Sanders and was like, I can't work with you at all, or poisoned him or anything like that, and was very, again, supportive, at least publicly. And I don't really have any inclinations that privately it was something negative going on, because I don't, one, think Shedeur or Deion's the type to just let something like that go by and not say something publicly.
That's interesting. I mean, it really is interesting. And so, like, again, we made so much of the wristband thing. That's just like a dumb luck, like the goofy thing that occurred. There's no reason to think there's anything more than that.
I mean, that could be, that could be a myriad of things.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a sign right there where that does get you in trouble. Like, how do we have that mistake? How do we have a situation where he doesn't have the right wristband?
Right.
That's where you talk about the procedures and process and evaluating and saying stuff like that can't happen on a Pee Wee Pop Warner level, let alone an NFL level. So I wouldn't take it to the degree of some type of mandate by Kevin Stefanski with a secret society within the Browns saying, what can we do to
try to undermine Shedeur
Sanders?
All right.
Yeah, no.
But you understand why that's a question. Like, as I've been very pro Kevin Stefanski, dude.
Because people do crazy stuff like that in real life.
Yep,
so no, it does happen.
And I've heard from a lot of Ravens fans who have said, hell no, man. Like, he tried to screw over Shedeur Sanders. I don't want him here, and that's why we're talking about it. On the bigger picture, on the macro, you allude to, like, so part of what interests me in Kevin Stefanski is Gerard, and I know you're a defensive guy, but I'm always inclined when you're looking for a coach to want it to be an offensive guy, because I perpetually live in fear of, like what happened in Detroit this season, where you lose your offensive coordinator and you take a step back after it's been working. I live, and I get it. It's not that simple. The Ravens hired a special teams coordinator and did an awful lot of winning over the course of the last 2 decades, but my preference is always an offensive mind. That said, he did have a lot of quarterbacks, and aside for 2020 with Baker and a short stint with Joe Flacco, I don't know that any of them we would say really seem to be bettered by their time with Kevin Stefanski. What do you make of him as an offensive mind, and why it didn't really ever seem to gel with the many quarterbacks he worked with?
Well, gosh, it's such a great question. First and foremost, with the Baker Mayfield situation, Baker was on, it's not the same Baker Mayfield as you're seeing in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. It took being almost out of the league to get him to the right mindset that he needed to be in, because he had a mentality that he was above the team, he was bigger than the team, and Kevin had to work within those confines. And I'm convinced that Kevin was doing all he could to put Baker Mayfield in a situation to succeed. You get the Deshaun Watson situation after that. And what do we have? We have a situation where a guy clearly has ruts, clearly has confidence issues, and Kevin has to work through that. Then we get a situation where you got 5 different quarterbacks, and I watched him on a weekly basis prepare 5 guys to play at a high level to make it to the playoffs. Now, these past 2 seasons, going into it, then we go back to the Watson experiment again, and he's still trying to work off the rust, and it didn't work. You hire an offensive coordinator. That doesn't work out. So, again, unlike what you guys decide to do, there was no stability. No stability whatsoever. You're switching coordinators, you're looking for solutions, and maybe, just maybe, because I don't think the solutions were issues of play calling per se, because I see Sean McVay, I see Shanahan, I see those guys, and those are gurus running similar play concepts that Kevin incorporated. What I didn't see, and this is also unfortunately falls on his doorstep, is that you had injuries on the offensive line, so the guys that you brought in to fill the void were not filling the void. They were, a lot of times, being devoid. And then you have a situation where the wide receivers weren't necessarily productive as well. And you never found an identity. And you could put that on personnel, but at the same time, once again, it's the job of the coach to do what? Get guys to be persistent, consistent, and play at a higher level than what they are capable of playing. That should be your goal, and that makes you an elevator. So if you're going to have one thing that you're going to critique, it's going to be, okay, why were your teams consistently penalized? Why were your teams consistently doing the same things week to week to beat themselves as opposed to getting better? Because I'm here to tell you, I use this as my prime example. We scrimmaged the Carolina Panthers, and we played them in preseason week 1, and I walked away from that experience saying we're 1,000 times better than the Carolina Panthers. As the year went on, the Carolina Panthers clearly got better, and the Browns did not.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let me is there anything else about Kevin Stefanski specifically that you would say he needs to be better at wherever his next gig is, whether it's in Baltimore or I think there's no doubt he's going to be coaching. He's just in too high of demand for me to think he's not going to get one of these jobs. Is there anything else that stands out at you that say, besides all of the Browns mess, he still also needs to do this better in his next gig?
Well, I think I just said it. It's just, and it's a hard one to say. How you gonna tell a guy not to be as loyal? That's asinine, right?
Yeah.
That's oxymoron. Don't be as loyal. Because in a lot of ways, what he did in regards to people will call him for the head of the special teams coach, because we literally lost games because of poor special teams play, and no changes were made because Kev is loyal. Guys in certain positions making mistake after mistake after mistake. Kevin doesn't bench him, doesn't sit him down because Kevin is loyal. So, again, I never want to put out a message of don't be loyal, because we're lacking a lot of that in our society as I speak. But I would say, if anything, just figure out ways in which you hold guys more accountable, and it comes across that way within your football team and in the organization. That'll help the cause.
Let me ask you a little bit about Jim Schwartz, too, while we're here, right? Because I have no doubt the Browns would love it if whoever their next head coach is wanted to have Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator, because, my God, he's great at it. But it's a weird one for me. I know Jim Schwartz well. He's a Baltimore guy. He's one of my favorite people. He's come on my show in the past and sang rock and roll songs. I like Jim Schwartz a lot. I am defensive of the idea that I don't think he gets enough credit for the job that he did as a head coach in Detroit, because I think we forget, in giving all the praise to Dan Campbell, like, the Lions were utterly moribund before Jim Schwartz showed up, and he made them relevant. And my God, do we know what he's capable of doing as a defensive coordinator. Are we too dismissive of the idea of Jim Schwartz of being a head coach again? Like, does he deserve more consideration for that than I think most around football are giving him?
Yeah, I think so, because I think he's unfortunately been pigeonholed into that coordinator dude role, and he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. And granted, when you have the success he's had as a defensive coordinator, I get why you say that, because the dynamics with being a coordinator and having one side of the ball be responsible for it on your part is much more challenging in all three phases. So I get why he's been pegged with that, but I would not say that he's going the route of he hasn't done enough to be labeled the same way, like, for example, on the offensive side of the ball, Josh McDaniel. So I just think what we do is we fall in love with certain guys, and then other guys we typecast and say this is all they're good for without giving them another chance. And you're right, what he did in Detroit was really good, turning things around. And ultimately, the concepts and precepts about having successful football will never change. It's always going to come down to being disciplined and well-prepared and out-willing the opponent across the field. And if you have the ability to do that, be on the defensive side of the ball, and convey that information to all three phases, you should be getting interview job opportunities, and ultimately a job as a head coach if you're able to organize and put all three phases on the same page. And that's really what it boils down to. But I do, to answer your question, do think he's been typecast, and it's not fair.
No, I don't think it is either. I don't know. Again, he's 59, and I think the Ravens might shoot a little bit younger, but, like, If it was Jim Schwartz, me personally, I'd be very excited because I love Jim Schwartz. But, like, I don't know, man. If they're looking for somebody who's going to bring back a defensive mentality, it's really hard to do a lot better than Jim Schwartz at the moment. Really
how you going to bring that back when you're the focal point of your football team is
it's fair.
Lamar Jackson.
That's fair. And somebody would say you don't want to change that, but it's got to be better defensively than it was. They were letting the ghost of Aaron Rodgers carve them apart with the season on the line in Week 18. They can't have that be the case moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, replacing a Ray Lewis and an Ed Reed, and granted, Hamilton is a baller, and so is
no doubt.
Raekwon. Don't get me wrong; those guys are ballers. But I get it. I get it, and it's hard to do that. But, yeah, you certainly are not or T-Sizzle. I mean, you're definitely not where you were in the past with your defensive prowess, and that is the issue and the problem. But at the same time, too, I throw it this way back at you guys. Seemed like a lot of it to me was so much hype and hoopla was assigned to this football team. Go back and read the publications. You know better than I do.
Oh, this was the best roster.
Ravens, best roster in the National Football League.
No doubt.
And then start asking questions like, okay, from a leadership standpoint, the focal point, Jackson, what was he doing to make sure that he was leading and showing guys the right way? Because I'm here to tell you, if he took any days off, any snaps off, any weeks off, any type of anything off, you know what other guys are saying in that locker room? Even though they shouldn't be saying it because they're not on equal footing.
Yeah, we can't.
If he can do it, I can do it too because I'm following his lead.
I get it. I completely get it. That's why I think there needs to be a completely new culture and a level of trust that just did not seem to exist for Lamar Jackson. And I think that's the reality of where they are. Gerard, you got a gut of how it's going to play out in Cleveland and who's going to be up?
No clue. No clue. We're up in the air. Unlike you, we're not. You guys are favorable.
Right.
We're at the bottom of the list right now as far as coaches, the top coaches. I mean, obviously, if we can get Harbaugh, we'd be ecstatic, but that more than likely won't happen.
I get it entirely. At JR Cherry 3, that's how you follow him. Gerard Cherry, always appreciate you, brother. Thank you for doing this morning. Let's talk again real soon, all right?
All right, man. Take care.
Gerard Cherry, 3-time Super Bowl champion and one of our favorites, telling us a little bit more about Kevin Stefanski. And by the way, I do think that what was really interesting in there, to parse out, and he said, look, I'm not going to be somebody that's going to dump on Kevin Stefanski. I really like Kevin Stefanski. But for everyone who's weaponizing the Shedeur stuff, and I get it because the optics were very bad, but for everyone who's weaponizing that, Gerard Cherry throws in that he's learned that privately those guys were spending more time together at the end of the season after Shedeur became the starter to try to, make that to be more aggressive, for there to be more aggression. That seems like it would spin in the face of the idea that he was purposely sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. I still think the Ravens are going to have to ask. Now, they already did the Stefanski interview, correct? They already had that one. I believe that one was one that already occurred. The Ravens needed to ask a lot, at least the first. I mean, I assume these guys, there'll still be guys going to be brought in again for in-person interviews. But I presume the Ravens asked a lot of questions about that when they met with Kevin Stefanski.
They did already talk.
Yes, that's what I thought. It's so hard for me to separate because there's 14 names. And actually, I guess, was Schwartz the 15th? Is there 15? Was he the 15th name?
I don't know.
God, it's so hard to keep track. I was doing it so well when it was like 9. I was on top of it, and now it's ballooned up to either 14 or 15. I think, hang on a second. I think Schwartz, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So unless there's been anyone added to the list since Schwartz, it's 15.
Are you, 15 included, whether they've completed
15
or not?
that have either interviewed or there's been
scheduled.
A request or it's scheduled to interview.
Okay.
15. Chris Shula, Nathan Schoolhouse, Vance Joseph,
Shellhouse.
Brian, do you know that?
I don't know.
Brian Flores, Kevin Stefanski, Clint Kubiak, Anthony Weaver, Davis Webb, Robert Saleh, Joe Brady, Cliff Kingsbury, Matt Nagy, Jesse Minter, Mike McDaniel, Jim Schwartz have all either interviewed, been requested, or scheduled. 15. Now, if there's somebody else that I've just, somehow, I'm doing my best to try to keep track of it.
Right. You said Kubiak? Yeah.
Yes, I said Kubiak on that list. I have been doing everything in my power.
What about this guy Harbaugh? Why don't they?
Yeah, right. They should talk. A lot of people seem to want to talk to him. Schwartz was the last one that I've got anything on. So 15 known candidates for the Baltimore Ravens head coaching job. Phew! Anyway, I don't know how I got here. What was it? Oh, Stefanski. So, like, it's easy to weaponize if the Ravens, I absolutely had to do a deep dive. And if I'm the Ravens, I need to make a phone call to Lamar. And I get that that's not always easy to do, like has been discussed. But I need to make a phone call to Lamar and say, Lamar, we are thinking about Kevin Stefanski. Because you need to be aware, even if you think it's poppycock, even if you think it's absolutely bunk, that there are people whose opinions are that Kevin Stefanski was sabotaging Shedeur Sanders. You must be aware that opinion exists. And to a certain extent is prevalent. I would say you need to be uniquely aware of how a lot of, I think, uniquely black people we've referenced the history of the black quarterback, and there have been books written about that, who get very sensitive. There are a lot of people that feel like this is another example on the list. Shedeur Sanders never should have been a fifth-round pick. He fell to the fifth round. He was below Dylan. You started Dylan Gabriel over this kid. That he's the next in the line of the mistreated black quarterback. And I understand that. And you need, whether you think it's reasonable or not, maybe the Baltimore Ravens said, we scouted Shedeur Sanders. We thought he was a sixth-round pick. Whatever you think, you must be aware that exists. And you have to consider that as you deal with Kevin Stefanski. And you need to talk to Lamar Jackson. And if you are inclined to think that Kevin Stefanski is your guy, you might want to connect Kevin Stefanski and Lamar Jackson for a conversation ahead of time. And make sure, because Lamar Jackson had a trust issue or a relationship issue, a serious one with Todd Monken. You cannot start this process with there being a problem there. And whether you like it, you might think Kevin Stefanski's the guy. But if that's a problem with Lamar Jackson, this is the eternal. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson hires the next coach. But if Lamar Jackson says, nah, I'm not satisfied, I think that guy screwed over Shedeur. And it would make some sense for Lamar and Shedeur to kind of chew some of the same dirt, right? Both kind of serious pop culture figures. If that's a feeling that he has, then it really does become a non-starter. You cannot begin this relationship with no trust, because the first thing that needs to happen afterwards is you've got to sign Lamar Jackson to a contract extension. So like it or not, he's going to have to be involved, and uniquely involved when it comes to this. This you have to be aware of. You can't look back in 6 months and have conversations. We're hearing there might be some friction between Lamar Jackson and Kevin Stefanski. Well, when did that start? Ironically, day one. It's an awkward conversation because I think Kevin Stefanski should be damn near, if not the top, at quite close to the top of the list. But I recognize that has to be with Lamar Jackson on board. And I do think that if that's the case, if Kevin Stefanski was really having private meetings with Shedeur Sanders to try to step this up, that's something that needs to be known. It needs to be shared. And hopefully Shedeur Sanders would pass that along to Lamar Jackson too, because no doubt Lamar's going to call Shedeur Sanders. I mean, Tyler Huntley said he was going to call Shedeur Sanders after they beat the Packers, so presumably it shouldn't be hard, even if Lamar doesn't have a relationship with Deion or Shedeur, to get in touch with him, to talk about it. And you'd like to hope maybe Shedeur says, you know what, man, I didn't like the guy at first, but I got to give him credit. Like, he was really working with me. Like, we were working together. You hope that's what you would get in that conversation. If that's what Gerard Cherry, and I have no reason, there's zero reason to think Gerard Cherry is going to lie to me about that. It'd be an insane thing to lie about. But you'd like to hope that that's the conversation that would happen and that you'd be good. We're still going to talk about Clint Kubiak before we get out of here today. We'll come back in. We'll talk about another thing that certain people were wanting to get work. There's lots of things that aren't controversial that we try to make controversies out of. And one of them, I could see from a mile away, was going to be the Ravens promotional, or the Orioles promotional schedule came out yesterday. And a lot of people are worked up about a bobblehead of a dog. I don't get it. Oh, no, that one's not the one. That's another one. Okay. We'll talk about that
Order
next.
a dog bobblehead?
Yeah. There is. Jackson Holiday and Coconut.
Oh.
They got a bobblehead together. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Tupac next. I think it's the first time I've ever said that on Glenn Clark Radio.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs in the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and it's our annual Best of issue, celebrating the top people, performances, and moments of 2025 in local sports. On the cover, we recognize 4 of the most significant athletes of the year: Orioles pitcher Trevor Rogers, Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, Maryland basketball star Derek Queen, and our 2025 Mo Gabba Sports Person of the Year, Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
This January, go for the gold at Live Casino and enter to win the ultimate winter experience. Earn the entire month of January, and on Saturday, January 24th, you could be one of 25 lucky winners to take their place on the podium and win a share of $50,000 in prizes, including a trip to the 2026 Winter Games in Milano Cortina. Let the games begin at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of the program. All right, yeah, the Orioles announced their promotional calendar yesterday, and a lot of really neat things. Some that I will acknowledge I'm not quite as excited about. Like, I can't lie, the Capitals jersey is not going to be for me. I actually think it kind of looks cool, honest to God, but I have no connection with the Washington Capitals. It doesn't interest me at all. A generic Orioles hockey jersey would have been, I would actually argue, more interesting to me than one that has the Capitals Association and you spell Orioles like Capitals. Like, that just doesn't. I'm not a Capitals fan, so I don't want to wear something that like makes people say, "Oh, you like the Capitals." It's funny too, because I think I've said before, I have a friend who has I don't want to say, it has a significant position with the Capitals. It's how last year we had the autographed pucks for the raffle that we did for helping out Mission. But he always is like, "Hey, man, you need some gear?" And, like, I just don't have the heart to say, I don't want to wear anything that says Capitals, because I don't. So I actually do have, I think, like an undershirt that's a Capital shirt that he gave me. Like, it's really nice. But I'll only wear it, like, around the house, because I just don't want to wear it out and then people be like, "Oh, you're a Capitals fan now? You've always said you don't like the Capitals."
Can you give me a Capitals scarf or something?
I can almost certainly do that.
Really?
Can almost certainly get you something like that. If you really want some Capital swag, let me know, and I'll
scarf. Yeah.
I don't, because I don't know what they have. Like,
okay, it's got to be.
Like,
it's got to just be like, "Hey, I got
yeah, whatever they have.
I got socks."
Yeah. But anyway, I say all that to say that one doesn't do a lot for me, admittedly, but if you're into it, God bless you. And for what it's worth, there are also tons of I always say there's not as many Capitals fans in Baltimore as the Capitals fans that are in Baltimore think, and that has been proven time and time again by data that we've collected. But as I've said before, there's still lots of Orioles fans in D.C. There is lots of crossover Orioles Capitals fans, particularly in Anne Arundel County and Howard County. And so I get it. I'm not mad at them. I'm just saying it's not for me. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes things aren't for you.
Saturday the 25th. I'm probably working that day. Darn it.
That's a real bummer. The soccer jersey. I like the idea, but it's red and blue.
Yeah, that didn't make any.
No,
well, I mean, I guess it's soccer
World
kits
Cup.
are. Oh,
it's the World Cup, and so I assume they're trying to play into USA fever, and so that's why they're doing it. But I don't want a red and blue Orioles. It's just a weird. I know Proctor was making that point last night. Proctor said, "Yeah, it's like how the third kits for Premier League teams have nothing to do with their color scheme whatsoever."
Manchester United is neon.
Yeah, they just pick these completely random colors for their third kit. Again, not for me. I mean, I guess because it's during the World Cup, if I had one, I would choose to wear it because it is USA, but it's a very short period of time that the World Cup is going on, and you're an Orioles fan all of the time. So, I don't know. I just would rather that be an orange. Still, whatever. Again.
See, you're supposed to have, I have a specific jersey for every sporting event. Every individual sporting event.
What all? You have a...
I don't know. Name something. Probably
okay, you have a...
I may need
What
to,
do you wear for the Masters?
Khakis.
Okay, all right. Not really sure the correlation. I actually dressed up as a caddy when I did. Drew and I hosted the final round of the Masters at Live Casino one year, and I dressed up as a Masters caddy, with the white jumpsuit and I got a hat and the whole thing.
So maybe my golf game could be upped a little bit. I guess my golf.
Yeah, well, you just
support whatever.
For what it's worth, you laid out that you had something for everything. And
I mean, I do. I have
the first one that I brought up, you had nothing.
I've got a collared shirt.
You BS'd your way through it.
Believe it or not, I do have collared shirts.
Well, the Australian Open gets underway on Saturday. What do you have for that?
Australia Open?
Yeah.
All
right, 0 for 2. So
I'll wear my rugby cleats.
You're gonna wear your rugby cleats. There you go.
Which are just soccer cleats.
That's where I have. Griffin was pulling up the caps for the hot dog race, red, yellow, and green.
Well, I was looking for the caps thing.
Oh, that's what you're looking for.
I didn't mean to actually pull that.
It was pointed out to me that maybe that's a night where some people don't want to get the ketchup one because there's kind of a connotation with wearing red hats currently in our country. So from afar, you might not want to be wearing a red cap with white lettering. Some people might.
Why? What's the...
Now, some people would go the other way. They'd say, that's the one I want. I damn well better get ketchup. I don't know.
Because it looks like the Red Sox? Is that what?
Yeah, I don't think that's the reason. I don't think that's the reason why it came up. Again, they're for a lot of people. That one's not for me necessarily. I prefer Orioles stuff to that. Of course, they're doing the Hawaiian shirt the way they do every year. There are some theme things. I think there's a teacher windbreaker for teacher night, things along those lines. Oh yeah, the jersey hoodie, I do like that one a lot actually. Yeah, I do dig the Kyle Bradish jersey hoodie, which I don't think they've ever done that before. No. I don't know. The other question is how thin is the hoodie? A hoodie giveaway is a big deal. Because if it's a good hoodie, then you'll wear it forever. If it's a really thin hoodie, then not so much. But yeah, it does look very cool. That's one that I agree. I would want that one as well. And was there anything else? Shirt, clothes giveaways that I thought were particularly interesting. I can't remember. Just scroll through real quick. The Hawaiian shirt, obviously. Yeah, they do Hawaiian. It doesn't matter what the Hawaiian shirt looks like. People are gonna every year. They just say it's the Hawaiian shirt. It's like the floppy hat.
How many Hawaiian shirts? They're doing 3 different days. Oh my!
I think it's a weekend, and then I think one of them. I think
it's July 24th. Yeah. Friday the 24th. They're doing it Saturday the 25th, and also Sunday. Okay.
But the one on Sunday is kids.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, so it's 2 adult days.
Yeah, 2 adult days, and then the kids' day on Sunday. It's their most popular giveaway every year. I get it. I think they're also doing one during spring training, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, February 28th Hawaiian shirt.
So yeah, that's always very popular. Is the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, I mean they usually just side the shirts a week.
Let's skip ahead to the part that we wanted to get to. They're doing lots of bobbleheads. Pete Alonso bobblehead, Jackson Holiday and his dog, a Jordan Westberg Star Wars bobblehead. Lots of bobbleheads. The one that got the most reaction, overwhelmingly positive, but as was to be expected, there was a minority that was particularly negative, was, of course, the Tupac bobblehead, which, look.
It looks.
Calling my shot now. I need it. I got to have it. I'm not even a bobblehead guy. And, you know, it's funny because the biggest bobblehead person I know is Patrick Stevens, who we will get. I had a couple people reach out. Patrick will be back with us this week. It's been a lot going on. There were holidays. Then the Ravens fired a coach.
Basketball teams don't want to win.
Yeah,
so
and that's also part of it, right? There hasn't been much to talk about, unfortunately. But we will get back into it, I promise, with Patrick Stevens. We're not just quitting on college basketball season. And by the way, college lacrosse starts in like 2 weeks. So, but Patrick's the biggest bobblehead person I know. And I don't think that he has like a particular inclination to get a Tupac bobblehead, but he wants all the bobbleheads. So I have no doubt that he'll be going to that game, and he'll probably get there early enough to get it. And so maybe I'll go with him to make sure that I can get mine. I want it. There's no doubt. That's cool, the crab hat. I do like that.
Denim crab.
Sure. Spare me. Just spare me the performative outrage. Spare me. And I say that as someone who, like, there would be a line. There would be a line for me of people that I would be opposed to celebrating and lifting up. Like, if you wanted to do it's a good example. If you want, I mean, obviously, like somebody would say P. Diddy. No, of course not. I'm the guy who doesn't like that Maryland plays the Gary Glitter song. I've said that openly. I don't care about the history. Find a new song. I don't want to celebrate Gary Glitter. Would we play an R. Kelly song? Like, we know better. Tupac, your negative connotation was his music, is that he was considered a gangster rapper. That's art. It's like that people try to weaponize the idea of, like, our friend Drew Forrester didn't like that they played the Omar whistle because it celebrates a show that was about drug culture. And spare me. It's art. Spare me. I also happen to know that Drew loves movies like that celebrate those things. Spare me. It's performative nonsense. It's bullshit. Spare me. If someone actually look, the worst thing that Tupac was ever connected with was a situation where he fired back after someone who had later turned out to be an off-duty cop pulled a gun out on him in Atlanta. As it turns out, they investigated it and figured out that he was acting in self-defense. So, spare me. There's nothing there. You want there to be something there because you're not into Tupac, but there's nothing there. Spare me. Now, there's a bigger conversation to be had about, like, why Tupac has lived as this larger-than-life concept, and I think that a lot of people that, like, wear Tupac shirts don't really know what they're associating with. The way that a lot of us, and I was young. I mean, I was in elementary school, middle school. I was in, like, 7th grade when Tupac was shot. But that music and his lyrics, which were unbelievable. I mean, he was one of one as a lyricist. Spoke artistically in a way that I don't know if that's what the connection is. Like, when I see people that are 20-some years old wearing Tupac shirts, I constantly wonder, like, what is that? What is the connection? Do you know Tupac's music? Like, have you ever listened to Hail Mary? I don't know. I can't fully understand it, but I dig it because I was a Tupac fan. I would add to it that there is the awkwardness of, like, this seems like a really thin connection for the Orioles to be doing a Tupac bobblehead night. Like, he lived here for 4 years.
That was his 4 most probably influential years of his of an adolescent's life, right?
I mean, it was high school, so, like, there's something to be said for that. You might not be wrong that they were influential, but we don't know. There's not, like, a history or trove of Tupac going to Orioles games and wearing Orioles stuff or celebrating the Orioles.
Well, he was writing music, though.
Right. It's extremely thin. And that doesn't mean that I'm opposed to doing it. There's a small part of me that feels like, because I don't know who's running Tupac's estate now. Like, I know his mother passed away a few years ago. There's a small part of me that worries that it's like a money grab thing where somebody's gotten control of Tupac's estate and now they're just like, we'll license anything, which I don't love. But it doesn't change the fact that I want one. It doesn't change the fact that I desperately want a Tupac Orioles bobblehead, and it looks amazing, as everybody has pointed out. Like, all of those things are still true. I can talk through all of it. The performative outrage it's bullshit. Stop it. Spare me. Just spare me. If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine. There's plenty of things that you might be into. Whether they do a lot. They do a Christian night. They do Pride night. They do Jewish night. They do all sorts of things throughout the course of the year. Teacher night.
Hispanic
Heritage night.
Yeah,
They do like all sorts of if something in there might be for you. Or you can just go to a baseball game. Here's the other thing, too. If you go to the Tupac night, you can just say, I don't want one. It's okay. They're not going to force you to take one. Or you can give it to somebody who might want one.
They may be playing Tupac's music, though.
They might. They might. They play lots of music during the course of a baseball game. Lots of it. I don't think they'll play nothing but Tupac that night, but, like...
They should, but...
I don't know. It's a whole thing. It just spare me the performative bullshit. Like, it's just nonsense. Sorry, I've been ignoring a John Little Rock today. Happy Steelers Elimination Day.
Yeah, he did have a perfect week, John. Well done.
Oh, he went officially 0-8?
0-8.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That is amazing.
And you're still behind him.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, dog. What are we going to do? Why would anyone get mad for the Orioles for a freaking bobblehead of Tupac 08? I know why. It's obvious. Yes, of course. Yeah, the Rubenstein bobblehead was a bananas move. I get it. Like, I do. I still can't imagine being worked up about it. Why do you care? If you don't want it, don't take it. This is where and I'm not a libertarian, but this is where the libertarian comes. Like, how does it impact you? How does it impact you? And that's why somebody would say, well, why are you so worked up about, like, the Gary Glitter song? Because I think that we collectively as a society should say, like, we can shut the door on child rapists. Like, I feel like we should be capable of that. That should be something that we can say, hey, we don't need that. We can not celebrate that. Our lives will be okay. And I understand that gets in the gray area, and somebody said, well, there were allegations made against Michael Jackson. Like, I understand that there gets to be gray area, but when, like, there's not gray area, when we know, like, there's no gray area about R. Kelly. There's none. We know. Convicted, period. Court of law. Overwhelming mountain of evidence. We don't need to play R. Kelly songs. Even no matter what they meant. Trust me, I sang the remix to Ignition every day of my life when I was 18 years old. My favorite song. I don't need to listen to it. I'll be okay. There's lots of other songs. I feel like we should be capable of having lines, but there's no line here. None. And yes, as John points out, the Ravens did announce today that BTS is playing M&T Bank Stadium this summer. You know what's funny? My kids love that one song. That's the one. Yep, that's the only one they know.
That song's
they
old.
Love it. They sing it constantly. How old is it?
That one's, I don't know, like 2020.
Okay,
Dynamite?
it's not that long ago.
That's old.
You say that's old. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, it
Chill.
was.
Chill.
That was when BTS like first came up.
I didn't even know they were still together, honestly.
I didn't know
I
that
thought
either,
they had like broken up.
Well, because
there was like
June or
some of them had to
something,
go to
I
the
forget.
military or
That's
something
right,
like that. Like, I don't know, but whatever.
well, and the one also like he has a solo career.
Oh, okay, good for him.
Forget his
Believe
name.
it or not,
Oh,
I'm probably not going to be able to be.
Jungkook.
Sure.
Oh, Jimin also. Jimin also.
I don't know. God bless you.
And then Jimin, and I think Jungkook have
Solo success. But
Yeah.
so are they still in the band, or is this like
yeah,
the
yeah,
rest
well,
of the band?
Yeah, apparently they are still. Like it's Jungkook.
Everybody's still in the band.
V, Suga,
Okay.
RM, J-Hope.
Yes.
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 And it is, I mean, band. You know, I don't think they all just sing and dance.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Settle down. You're getting very worked up about that. My kids just learned this weekend that Justin Timberlake was the lead singer of NSYNC. Their minds were blown.
Imagine learning that
by that news. Blown, because we were driving to we went to Dave and Buster's on Saturday, and or Sunday, whatever day it was, when my wife said, "You need to do something fun with the kids," and I was like, and she told them that I would take them to Dave & Buster's. So then the trade-off is they had to clean the house and make dinner with me. Because I'm like, we're not just giving what how did they earn a trip to Dave & Buster's? She's like, well,
one broke his wrist.
Sam broke his wrist. I'm like, right, but like that doesn't mean that we just give them Dave & Buster's. I got lots of. I could do a commentary about.
Break my wrist.
Yeah, right.
I gotta break my wrist.
I could do an hour about the Dave & Buster's experience. One, I paid the $50 for the 90-minute all-you-can-play card, right? And then didn't realize that like you had to max out at like 1,500 tickets. Trust me, the Clark boys, we got 1,500 tickets within 3 minutes.
Wait. So they cut you off.
You can't get them. You can keep playing games, but you can't get more tickets. Yeah, they max out the tickets. Now because in the past we haven't gotten the unlimited card, we had a system. His dad is going to go set the high score on the football machine the first time. Like, I don't know what it is about the football machine. Nobody ever throws for the 99s when they pop out. So I go set the high score on the football machine.
The Browns needed a quarterback this year.
That's true. They should have called, no doubt. Then there's 2 football machines, so you just go ahead and set the high scores on both. There's 1,000 tickets right there. And then my older son and I, we're both very good at knocking down the clowns.
Okay.
Now, there's a trick. You have to throw the first one away because they have 2 machines, and there's always not enough balls. So you have to basically take some of the rubber balls from the one machine, play on that one, move them over to the other machine,
cheat.
And then no, they're trying to cheat you. You have to level the playing field.
No, I think they're trying to make it. This is not supposed to be easy.
Right? It's not easy. It's not easy. You still can't miss
because you're cheating. You're making.
No, we're not cheating. You have to give me the chance. I can't look down and say, where are all the balls? I have to have the ability to throw another ball. That's the reality.
I think they're trying to say that the point of the game is
right
that
you can't win. That's the point of the game is that you can't win.
Knock down 3 clowns with one.
Oh, is that what you're supposed to do?
Yes.
Is somehow you line them up that way? I didn't realize that it was a bowling.
Like bowling.
So
yeah,
it's
like bowling.
Is that? So we knocked out 1,500 tickets, and then the machine started saying, no more tickets. And I was like, what?
So you had to call an attendant. Hey, well, the machine's broken.
Yeah, right. Questionable about whether or not it's worth it for the all-you-can-play ticket. Really questionable on that.
So as opposed to, we just got to find the most economically,
Yeah, we got to really
way to so maybe
if it's about
earning
tickets.
Yeah, if it's about
earning tickets,
maybe we do have to spend a little more than $50.
We can spend way less money and get the exact same amount of tickets.
Yeah,
that's a fact because we got a system down. The Hot Wheels game, you put 3 people on that.
I'm familiar with that.
Oh, the Hot Wheels game, it's a good one. I would say of all the racing games, it's my favorite racing game. The Hot Wheels racing game, you get 3 people on it, and then the winner is guaranteed 125 tickets. Wow. Yeah, so worth it. Play that Hot Wheels game. Anyway, I don't know how we got here. Oh yeah, the kids and the Dave & Buster's. I don't really know. I don't remember how we got here. What else did we do? We did something else. Oh, they did do a good job of making dinner with me though. We made we couldn't agree on between meatball subs and spaghetti, so we just made both.
Nice.
Yeah. So Graham, my older son, he had a meatball sub. My younger son had spaghetti and meatballs, and I made a meatball bake essentially.
Oh, okay.
I just took like 6 meatballs, sauce, and cheese, and made like a meatball bake for myself. Yeah, and we made some broccoli. Younger son might have gone a little heavy on the olive oil when I told him to drizzle the olive oil on the broccoli. I don't think he understood what I meant by drizzle. It was a little awkward. But lovely day.
Might have helped. I don't know.
Yeah, look, man, they did a good job of making dinner with me after I told them they had to do that. I don't know how we got there. Anyway, what were we doing here?
Giveaways.
Whatever. We've gotten through it. We've gotten through it.
John had a comment on each and every.
BTS. We were talking about BTS. That got us there. Oh, songs. Justin Timberlake. On the way to Dave & Buster's, they asked if we could listen to songs because we went at like 11 a.m. on Sunday, so there was no football game on. So they asked if we could listen to songs, and my younger son requested Bye Bye Bye. And then he said,
hey, good job.
Is NSYNC a band? And I said, yeah, buddy, NSYNC is a band. Then he said, do I know any of their other songs? And I was like, I don't know. And then we were sharing some other NSYNC songs. Then I said, well, you know who you do know is Justin Timberlake. And he was like, what?
It's like the Trolls guy?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like they can't stop the feeling because they love that song, right? And I'm like, yeah, Justin Timberlake was the singer in NSYNC. I swear to God, I was just looking at him like, their mouth just gaping over.
Has he heard Suit and Tie yet?
Same guy. No, I don't think they've heard Suit and Tie. My one seed for Justin Timberlake is What Goes Around Comes Around. That song, God damn, that's the greatest song I've ever heard. It's ironic. I'm on Chad Duke's show today. I recorded it earlier. You'll hear it at some point today. And when Chad and I were working together in Phoenix, one day, I don't know, he was mad at me about something. And so he called me, and this is 06, I want to say. He calls me, and he's, like, yelling at me about something, and I'm clearly not listening to him. And he's like, you're not even paying attention. I'm like, yeah, man, that Justin Timberlake song is being played on whatever radio station it was in Phoenix that played it. And he was like, wait, which station? And I was like, whatever. He's like, all right, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And so, like, goddamn, that song was so good, man. It was so good. Push a Love Girl, that's very high on my Justin Timberlake list. Love Push a Love Girl. Those are probably my top two. I got to think if we did a power rankings on Justin Timberlake
Mirrors,
songs.
I mean, it's...
I like Mirrors. It's fine.
I guess it's...
But, like, it's not the high. Mrs. Clark and I went and saw him at the...
Sexy Back.
I'm not a big Sexy Back guy. I don't care for it that much. It's fine.
Yeah. What's
Yeah, it's annoying, honestly, when I think about it more.
No, it's not. It's
all right. From trivia last night, number one, there were 4 quarterbacks that threw at least 30 touchdowns this season in the NFL. Who are they?
That would be. Hold on, I want to try to get it all in like one quick swoop here.
Ironically, we actually did go 4 for 4, but it was an adventure. We had 3 of them, and then we were debating the 4th.
Stafford, obviously.
Yes.
May.
Yes.
And then, I mean, then it could be anyone. 30 passing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Allen got there. I'm not Allen.
There was a third that I found to be obvious, extremely obvious.
I mean, Lawrence had 6 in one game, so maybe. Burrow didn't play enough. Mahomes had a good year until he got hurt. Did he make it to 30? I feel like he might have, because they weren't scoring touchdowns any other way. Mahomes.
Incorrect.
Damn it. Stupid.
Dumb guess. Guy that couldn't finish the year.
I know, but they were they weren't scoring touchdowns. They did. I don't know. I felt like they did not have, because I had drafted Isaiah Pacheco. I don't think they had a rushing touchdown for a while. Well, I guess Kareem Hunt was stealing those, so whatever. Not Knicks. Herbert.
Not Justin Herbert.
All right, so I'm still looking terrible at this.
Not going well. We actually debated between. We had the third one that was obvious, then we debated between 3 guys and ultimately picked the right one. Kind of by dumb luck.
I ruled out Darnold quick, but maybe Darnold. Not Darnold.
He was in the group of 3 guys we debated, so I'm gonna put him over here in this.
All right, in the side bucket.
Yeah, and we can discuss that later.
Darnold. I don't think Hurts. Definitely not Hurts. Dak. I'll say Dak is on the side bucket for now. Is Dak one that you discussed?
Dak is not in the side bucket.
Dak for sure.
Dak to me was one of the most obvious ones of the group.
Dak Prescott.
All that dude ever does is put up numbers, empty ass numbers. There's no king of empty numbers like Dak Prescott. Dak was the third obvious one to me.
Probably not. Yeah, no one in the NFC South this year.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams.
You say that. I mean, you don't know that.
I'm pretty confident. What, Bryce Young? Baker had a down year.
You just want to give up, or
No. All right, I'll go. So I have the 3. I have Stafford, May, and the other one I just said.
Yes.
Dak, yeah.
And then I'm putting Darnold is in the side bucket.
Yeah. Flacco, if he had played all 16,
right?
17
Clearly,
games,
yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm. And then Lamar did not make it.
No, Lamar did not make it. This is going well.
I'll go with I ruled out Allen quick, but I still don't think passing touchdowns.
Allen was in our side bucket.
Passing touchdowns, though.
I understand. Allen was in our side bucket.
I'm not gonna pick Allen.
Okay. And then you have a third name that was in our side bucket.
So I'm trying to guess your side bucket name.
The third name in our side bucket was Jared Goff.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
So there was the 3 that were in our side bucket: Darnold, Allen, and Goff.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Goff.
Goff is who you're going with.
No. I'm gonna go Darnold.
Darnold.
No.
Oh my God.
Maybe Allen.
So nothing. You got nothing then?
How about what's his name from North Texas, Westamaker?
Okay. Anyway, so we had a debate. We said we're all going to vote for one of the three.
Mendoza had 30 touchdowns.
And our John Proctor voted for Allen. My cousin Duncan voted for Darnold. Our movie guy Brad voted for Goff.
Gotcha. So you were the tiebreaker.
No, and then my old roommate Matt also voted for Goff. So Goff had a 2-1 lead. So I would have made a problem had I not gone along with it. I was the last to vote. And Proctor was like, "Yeah, but you're the sports guy, so your vote counts for 2." So I just decided.
So whoever you pick wins.
I just kind of decided to go with the mob to avoid the controversy. And I also kind of was leaning towards Goff. And it turns out the answer was Jared Goff. Jared Goff.
That's what I said. Knew it.
And then yesterday, January 12th, on this day in 1993, this future Hockey Hall of Famer announced he had Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Oh, man. I don't think I'll know. Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux.
Knew it.
100%.
Knew it.
Is that really just a guess?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I did not know that he had cancer.
That's wild. Yeah. That one to me was a little bit. That was a bit more obvious. Yeah, it did. Well, he came back and played. He was fine. Yeah. I mean, he had retired then, but he came back and played. And they brought his number down out of the rafters. It was a whole thing after he beat cancer. So has had a great life, Mario Lemieux, since that point. Saved hockey in Pittsburgh. People forget that at one point the Penguins were about to move to Kansas City.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, right? A pretty historic franchise was about to move to Kansas City. So yeah, those are the two. We did win last night.
Well, congratulations.
We did. It's starting. I can sense that there's starting to be some frustration
with the rest of the
rest
of the restaurant, with the rest of
somebody on the way out the door was like, you guys could just not come one week. We don't win every week. We did win the World Series, obviously, our World Series champions, and we did There's a part of us that kind of wants to defend our World Series title.
You just go Ric Flair.
Hey, yeah, right. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Be the champs.
Yeah, right. That's the way it works. You want to make it easy, or do you want to beat us? Just beat us. It's that simple. We got stuff wrong last night. We got plenty of things wrong. Just not the final, thankfully. We got that one right. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit tubular, and then we will talk to Brock Huard about.
Did you want to say any words about
at the end of the show? Yeah.
Okay.
We'll come in tidbit tubular and Brock Huard on Clint Kubiak. That's next. Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
This January, go for the gold at Live Casino and enter to win the ultimate winter experience. Earn the entire month of January, and on Saturday, January 24th, you could be one of 25 lucky winners to take their place on the podium and win a share of $50,000 in prizes, including a trip to the 2026 Winter Games in Milano Cortina. Let the games begin at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on hello?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Your reaction was very confusing.
Well, because I was
started talking
about
and
to say something to Caleb, and then I was like, oh, we're live.
Right, but it seemed like you were trying to stop me as if...
No, I was stopping myself.
It's very awkward. Yeah, Caleb from Rita and Glenn is here because he's filling in this Friday. I appreciate that from Caleb. This is weird, though, because I'm to understand that we're going to pay Caleb. And normally...
I didn't tell him that.
When,
so maybe we don't.
That might
dude, you know it's in my contract. I don't work for money.
Normally, when money's involved, Caleb's like, no, I'm out. Like, I won't do it.
Well, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for Griffin.
Oh, that's what it is. Wait, are you like Griffin get paid for your work?
Oh, whoa. We're not putting that on the air.
Yeah. Swear to God, for those that don't know, if you're not listening to Rita and Glenn, one, the F are you doing? This show sucks. Listen to Rita and Glenn.
Well, wait a minute. That's funny. Well, yeah, whoa. Griffin just showed me all the hard work he's preparing for me.
But no, it's famously when Reed and I started over at the radio station, Caleb was our producer, and then at some point he just quit. Like he just said, "See ya, I don't want to do it anymore."
I got a better job.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was something like that.
It was like I can't stand working with you.
Reed and I decided we were going to do this as a podcast, and we did an episode, and then I heard from Caleb, and Caleb was like, well, you didn't call me. And I was like, well, one, you quit. Like, let's talk about what happened here.
I didn't quit
you
on
quit
you.
Me.
No,
you quit
see,
me.
that's the problem.
You said that Glenn Clark fella can F off. I'll work with Rita, but I'll never work with Glenn again. You quit me. And then I said, but Caleb, the real issue is this isn't a profitable show. I can't pay you. So that's why I didn't reach out. And Caleb said, oh, I prefer it that way.
I mean, low responsibility, and if I mess up,
that really is there is no doubt. Like, what are you going to do? I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, right. Like, when I'm scrambling around over there, and you're like, oh, dude, we talked about this in the meeting. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not getting paid.
I essentially, whenever you're out and I get Griffin to do it, I like just try to ply him with like whatever we're trying for. I'm into it that day. I'm like, but I can give you some, Chick-fil-A chicken and waffles.
Yeah, see, that one was a good day.
And Griffin's like,
yeah, dude, you got the one that I'm like, I was dying to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, if that sweetens the pot for you, then hell yeah.
Yeah. So Caleb, to recap, when there was money involved, no. When there's no money involved, I'll be there. So that's why I was confused to find out that Caleb is filling in this Friday for Griffin, because Griffin may also be quitting. Like, it might also be might be one of those quiet quitting situations where he's like, I'm going away for a
I'll cover
weekend.
the Friday, and then Monday, where's Griffin?
Griffin's going to be gone next Monday and Tuesday as well.
And Wednesday and Thursday and
we're
Friday.
still working on how those days are going to be filled. Yeah, he's never going to be back.
That's the real thing.
I believe I've got someone for Monday now, but I still think we need somebody for Tuesday. I still think we're on the Tuesday. I think our friend Xavier is going to help us out on Monday.
Let's go, Xavier.
Oh. Yeah, right. Haven't seen him for a little while. I don't even know what he does.
Well,
I gotta be
he
honest
was at
with you.
Towson.
Was that where he was?
Yeah.
Really?
He does not do sports, though.
What does he do? Well, he's a business. I know he's a business
John's
man.
intern.
He's Jay-Z. He's like, I'm not a businessman. I'm a business.
So is he coming in at some point too, or
you're gonna get in touch with him and work on that?
All right.
I love that.
That's good. Can't wait.
That's on you. And then we got to figure out Tuesday.
Good. Well, I'll have you read the notes, and you let me know what's confusing, so that way hopefully.
The problem was Monday was a holiday, so I was thinking about taking it off, right? Because I've never taken off on MLK Day before. Problem is the Ravens are in the throes of a coaching search, and the numbers have been really good.
Yeah, and they're going to be really good tomorrow too. After
yeah.
Steve talks,
we'll see what they say. But the numbers have been really good, so we can't really take the day off in the throes of this. After the Ravens hire a coach, there might be some days off in the future. We'll see. There might we might look into that. But
February. What is it? February 10th. The Pro Bowl?
Is that President's Day?
That's the Pro Bowl.
Oh, no, we're not taking that day. Although we're not talking about the Pro Bowl.
Well, I think is that a Sunday? Oh no,
it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, remember they moved the Pro Bowl
I don't remember
to
that.
Tuesday.
Jeez.
To Tuesday, prime time.
To be part of Super Bowl week. They want to add it into the whole.
Okay, so it's at the Super Bowl now.
Bogus. Yes, they're going to do the Pro Bowl at the Super Bowl site every year now.
Would have been fun to have been there this year.
I would not have given a rat's ass about. I do remember the year they did this once.
Should we just go anyway?
I think it was a Miami year, maybe, that they did this, where they put the Pro Bowl the Sunday before the Super Bowl in Miami, and we arrived. This must have been Colts Saints, that Super Bowl, I think, that was in Fort Lauderdale. The famous year where Dan Wilcox drove overnight to come surprise Drew on his birthday. Drove overnight from Atlanta, got in a car, called me and said, "Hey, are you guys doing anything at the Super Bowl?" And I said, "Yeah, like we'll be down there." And he said, I've never been. I was thinking about going down. And I was like, oh, dude, please.
It says it was technically Miami. So wait, Radio
The
Row
Super Bowl was in Miami. Radio Row was in Fort Lauderdale.
Why the
Radio
hell?
Row was at the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center. They do that stuff all the time.
It's like an hour away.
Is it an hour? I don't think it's an hour.
I thought it was an hour.
I don't think it's an hour.
Miami and Fort Lauderdale?
But the Pro Bowl was Sunday night at the Hard Rock Stadium, whatever it was called at the time. And I do remember that, like, you could just have tickets. Like, nobody.
40 minutes.
This is before it was a flag football game. This one was a real football game. But, like, you could just have them. Like they were.
Yeah, they're not.
Nobody was paying for Pro Bowl tickets.
It was like an and thing, I feel like. Like, if you got Super Bowl tickets, you.
And the guy who owned the old radio station, that guy was going to go. And Ray Bachman, Drew, and I were out at dinner with him. And he was like, I am going to leave. I'm going to go to the Pro Bowl. And he was like, do you guys want to go? And we, of course, all had to be up at 5 to do morning radio the next day. And we looked at each other and were like, what do you mean, do you want to go? Do you have tickets? And he was like, well, you can get there's like,
nobody you can just walk in.
Nobody is.
He's like, tickets.
It's the Pro Bowl. And we were like, And like we all looked at each other like, we've never been to a Pro Bowl before. I guess we could say we went to the Pro Bowl. And then I swear to God, all looked at each other like, why the hell would we do that? Like, why would we go to the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, dude. Because it's your job.
We all said, nah, we're good. No, thank you.
Dude, I'm dying for those Pro Bowl highlights.
Yeah, well, if you want to fill in that day. You can fill in for me that day, actually, for all I care. You and Griffin can do
on Wednesday, so it'd be the Wednesday after.
Yeah, the Wednesday after you won't be taking
Drew will probably be that
you
day.
guys, you guys
us and Drew.
It's like the time that the former program director at the radio station had the idea of Drew, Rita, and I doing a show together.
I thought that worked out well.
Because
Glenn was
the leadership of Glenn Clark in that moment.
I ran Glenn. Did I run that show?
I don't remember if you did that.
I don't think so, because I worked with Drew and then you guys came in, and that was great. Because, you guys said your highs and buys, and then we changed the energy. At the
yeah. Look, Drew will forever be a friend. I love Drew. Everybody knows that. I hate him, but I love him. Everybody knows how that works. We will forever be friends. We will be tied together for eternity. We were. I was texting him this weekend because I was. You feign to be a Capitals fan, right?
Yeah.
You pretend like you're a Capitals fan.
Pretend is
so you would
right.
obviously.
Nice. I pretend to be a Wizards fan.
Well, I pretend
Trae Young, we're changing the world.
Which is funny because no one else even pretends to be a Wizards fan. Lots of people pretend to be Capitals fans.
I am a Wizards
You obviously know who this Capitals legend is that I was hanging out with on Saturday. You clearly know who that is.
I got to get a closer look.
Whose jersey is literally in the rafters at their arena. And because I had to fill in for you on women's hockey on Saturday, I happened to be there because his granddaughter plays for Newman.
Oh, whoa. Nice.
Yeah. That Capitals legend. Clearly, if you're a Capitals fan, you have to know because his jersey is literally retired by the Capitals. There's only so many of them. You clearly must know who that is.
Yeah, it's that was a picture of Gordy Newman.
Gordy Newman, yes. Who's
They named the university.
They named Newman.
Yeah.
There are 5 retired jerseys. 4. There will be 5, obviously.
Don't ask me this.
Actually, I'm kind of surprised they haven't retired T.J. Oshie's.
Like, it just happened, right? He retired.
Why wouldn't they announce that they're retiring his jersey? Like,
that's all you gotta wait.
Weird. Right?
Make him earn it. Make sure he's good on TV first.
Is he a Hall of Famer? I think he's a. We had this conversation.
That's what I'm
with
saying.
Drew,
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, but not all these guys are in the Hall of Fame, dog.
I believe that.
4 retired jerseys in Capitals history.
I'm not gonna get any.
This is why I know.
I'm so excited.
This guy over here, get me the Orioles Capitals jersey. I need one. Can't name one retired number in Washington Capitals history. Name one.
2. What? Is that a retired number?
Number. That's it. There are 4 players whose jerseys in Capitals history.
38.
No, we're 38.
Okay.
The number 5 is honored in
Brooks Robinson
is retired in honor of Rod Langway. The number 11 is retired in honor of Mike Gartner. The number 32 is retired in honor of Dale Hunter.
Okay.
And the man that I was hanging out with on Saturday, the number 7, is retired in honor of Yvonne LeBray.
LeBray.
Whose granddaughter Charlotte was playing for Newman.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So,
Man, 7 and 11 retired.
That's true. How about that?
That's
right?
cool.
So I
those were both I was 11 in high
Griffin's
school.
arguing for a 6 to be retired, to go right next to Yvonne LeBray.
That would be
6
nice.
upside down. It's a 9 now.
So I sent this to Drew because, of course, Drew doesn't feign to be a Capitals fan. He, of course,
Okay.
hardcore.
And
It's the
so
reason why
hardcore, what did he
He's
say?
the host of Shaved Ice, as
That's
you
true,
know.
yeah.
Does that start back tomorrow?
I
with
guess
the
it can.
Ravens? I guess
assuming
Shaved
he's
Ice
here.
and
I think he'll be here.
hanging on the rim. Is that what we decided the other segment was called?
Yeah,
So I
hanging on
send
the
this to
rim.
Drew. I say, you know who this is? I had to call the women's ice hockey game today, and his granddaughter plays for Newman.
Get to call the women's ice hockey.
Well, I mean, I'm not the normal broadcaster for the women's ice hockey. I don't want it stolen valor.
Okay.
I'm not a stolen valor guy. He responds, LOL, no.
To be fair, he just looks like an older white
know,
gentleman.
But
like,
you're a hardcore.
maybe
Let me
30
tell you
years ago
something.
he could
If you were
recognize
standing
him.
with any of the guys whose numbers were retired by the Baltimore Orioles, I would know them.
Yes.
I'm not a
Yeah.
Washington Capitals fan, but all these
Well-
people that feign
well,
like
also-
they're
also
Washington
baseball's a
Capitals
little different
fans.
because they play 162 days a year.
I mean, the Capitals
and you
play
see their faces every day.
You know what? That's a great point. How many games a year do the Ravens play?
They play about 16.
Is there anyone in
Yeah.
the Ravens Ring of Honor that you wouldn't recognize?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I recognize
All of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Except
but
maybe
now we're
Ernest
getting
Biner.
into it.
Maybe Ernest Biner.
But now
Yeah.
we're
You
getting
wouldn't
into a thing
recognize
about
Ernest
like
Biner.
Yeah.
football
Robert Ned
versus
in the-
hockey culture in
That's
America. Like,
what I'm saying is you're all feigning. You're all
So there's no
frauds.
such thing as a hockey fan in the
I
United
believe
States.
there are. I believe there are. I believe there are people that are hardcore.
we're just not in the room with one of them.
I would, if we put this out, if I sent that picture into like Washington Capitals like message boards, lots of people would know that was Yvonne LeBray.
Well,
Lots
do
of people
it.
would. But Drew Forrester's a fake.
Can we do it? I just want
You want to do that? That's fine.
You
You
put
can
it
do
in the
I'm not doing it.
Capital subreddit
Yeah. Sure.
because
by
I'm
me.
sure that's a very healthy place right now.
Are they bad?
No, they're pretty good. But I mean,
Yeah.
dude, you been on any fan subreddit?
Okay, well, I mean,
You
that's
know.
but that's no different than anywhere.
Exactly.
Spare me. Brian Powell was offended that you didn't know because he could name all of them right off the top of his
Sorry,
head.
Brian.
Congrats, Brian.
Sorry I wasn't alive when any of those guys played.
Oh,
That's actually not true either. But you know what it is.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me think about Dale Hunter. Dale Hunter might have gotten past your
Because
birth.
I was 2.
yeah. I don't know
But
what
you
his
said-
bit is
you said
here,
what you
Griffin.
said.
Like he's mad at you for not being alive.
Dale Hunter. You know what? Dale Hunter retired in '99. So you just technically.
Told you.
Just technically.
I knew that.
But did he retire at Capital?
I don't know. I think he played
No.
for somebody else.
There
Looks
you
like he
go.
retired for a Colorado Avalanche.
There you
Played
go.
1
See,
year. No. He was still in Washington in '99. He got a cameo with Colorado at the end of the
Yeah, but he
'99
retired
season.
in Avalanche.
Spare me. I don't think he retired.
He retired
I'm doing my
as
best
a
here to
Avalanche.
defend you.
Spare me. Stop it.
I'm doing my best.
Stop.
Look, man, I'm a producer guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm what do they call them? Player coaches. I'm a producer coach.
But you always side against me in everything. I don't know what
That's
that.
Well,
not
I don't know.
You're just not.
Untrue.
You're
It's
just not
very
right.
passive aggressive. It's very weird. I don't get. It's because I'm not the hot chick. I'm just gonna be honest about this. I know why it is that no one sides with me. If I was more attractive, everybody would side with me. I understand. I accept that lot.
This argument sounds so vain. I mean, you could just be wrong a lot.
No, am I, Caleb? Am I wrong a lot?
You can be.
Yeah. About what? What
I'm
am
trying
I wrong
to think.
about? Y'all tried to tell me I wasn't fun. We did an
We're back
entire
on here. We're
20-minute
back.
segment where you tried
Griffin,
to
I'm
say I
sorry.
wasn't
Glenn
fun.
and-
Oh,
sorry.
I was furious.
So mad.
I got them tickets to go with me to the Orioles game for my birthday.
I can't tell you how many
Two
times
of
I've heard
them.
this
I
story.
called in personal favors for
Then
these,
you
those
didn't
two
give me
assholes.
tickets for-
Did I get?
We
Did I
didn't
get
go.
Griffin a ticket? I did take him to opening day though, so
Yeah,
he
you
can
did take
settle
him
down.
to opening
I've taken Griffin.
And that one Pirates game
What about?
was like the day game.
Oh yeah, the really awkward one. There was a really awkward story.
Well, they
surrounding that
won.
Pirates
They
game.
won.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was something
not
more
as awkward as the opening day story when I ran into you and I went with my ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
Oh,
that didn't
yeah.
surprise me. That didn't. None of that surprises me. Any of that. None of that.
Do I give
None
that
of
kind of
that- none
energy?
that
Like I would go
surprises
to a
me.
baseball game with my ex-girlfriend type of energy?
I mean, like, come on, man. I think that same day I bumped into Kyle Ottenheimer and he wanted to hang out, and then 5 minutes later he was off and doing something with a girl. I was like, all right, whatever. I don't care. I'm not the hot chick. I can live with that.
Okay.
But they attempted to say I wasn't fun. I got them tickets for my birthday. My birthday. Did they do anything for me for my
that
birthday?
ended up being the best baseball game of the
Yeah,
year,
the
right?
best baseball game of the year.
Well, the best inning of the year.
One of the best moments.
No, I mean,
because
for 99% of the game, you could say I was.
Yeah,
I was
you were
at
at
a
a
perfect
no-hitter.
game. I was at a
Exactly
perfect
right.
game.
Yeah. And then
Or
you
no
got to
hitter,
witness.
But then
something
I
even
saw the
more
comeback.
amazing.
Yeah. It was supposed to rain.
The day of the game, on my birthday.
It was supposed to
on
rain.
my birthday.
Yep.
They said, "Sorry, bud, we're out."
We actually had like
What'd
a
you do?
side
What were you
group
doing?
chat. It was raining. I didn't want to go to a baseball game in the rain.
They played the baseball.
Jerks.
They did.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
I remember
was a
feeling
beautiful
so
evening.
like watching the game,
was
being
so
like,
nice.
"This is a great game."
Yeah.
I wish I was there.
Yeah, bet you do.
Yep.
They tried telling me I wasn't fun. I wasn't.
As a master of bits,
Because
he hates our bit.
Because
against
I
him.
bring up the fact that like
Cal Ripken was there.
that because you know why they brought it up? Because I brought up the loop.
It was Cal
Moo
Ripken
thing.
Day.
Yeah, I brought that. That's why they. And by the way, it was their idea too. It was their idea to go to the game.
This
They
is just
said,
painting
"I'm
me in a
not-
bad light.
I'm not fun. All right, we're gonna do another 3-hour show today, and I effing hate you for it.
What did I do?
It's always your fault. Really quickly, before we do Tidbit and Tubular, I want to say a word. I didn't say it yesterday. Longtime Towson Sports Information Director Dan O'Connell passed away over the weekend. Worked with Dan a million times. Dan was someone who understood the value of local media and telling stories. Was someone who would reach out and ask you to do things like. And you know, one of the crazy parts about Dan was like Dan would be really honored by the fact that you were doing it. And I'd be like, Dan, like I swear to God, Towson was playing in the national championship game the day before the game. The day before, I said, you know, Terrence West, who ultimately played for the Ravens, was a superstar on that Towson team. And I said, why don't you have Terrence West call into the show? And he wasn't like annoyed by it. He wasn't like, Glenn, why did you wait till the day before the game to do it? He said, oh my God, 3:00, you got it. Happy, 100%. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciated Dan O'Connell a great deal. He was someone who understood the value of local media and connecting and wanted you there and wanted you at practices and wanted you to go on the road with the team and get to know the guys. It's a bygone era. That era does not exist anymore, although there are plenty of sports information directors that we work with that are great. Like we were just over at Towson last week doing a show there. But was very aggressive in connecting players and coaches with local media, wanted those relationships to exist. A legend in this business in the Towson Hall of Fame. Dan O'Connell, safe home, my friend, and appreciate everything that you ever did for us in your role as sports information director. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel. That's the best place to watch every big game. It's playoff weekend. You don't have any rooting interest now. The Steelers are out. You got nothing. It doesn't matter really anymore. I mean, I don't want it to be the Patriots, pretty clear, but it really doesn't matter all that much.
Probably not the Bills.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't want it to be the Bills. But it's not.
Definitely not the 49ers either.
Why not the 49ers? What do
I
you
mean,
against
dude,
the
like
49ers?
screw the West Coast.
You just hate the West Coast?
The West Coast, yeah.
All right, that's very random.
There's no way it can be the 49ers, though.
So we basically said it can't be anybody. Like we can't let it. No teams are allowed to win. But the point is, there's no rooting interest left. So just go enjoy the games in like a non-partisan type of way. Just go hang out in an electric atmosphere where everyone is living and dying on every play because they all have money on it. Go have fun inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel for playoff weekend. And while you're there, you can register to win a trip to the Winter Games, which they're giving away. Find out more at livech.com. Live Casino and Hotel. Hang out there this weekend.
We had two players for the first time since 2019. We had even a player, but we had two this season. One that rushed for 1,000 yards and had over 750 receiving yards.
Say that one more time.
1,000 rushing, 750 receiving. We had that happened. Two players did that this year, and it was the first time it happened since 2019.
1,000 rushing. Bijan?
Yes.
And McCaffrey?
Yes. For the third time in his career, CMC has done this.
Damn.
They are two of 11 players to
ever
1,000 rushing and 750 receiving in a season.
All right. Marshall Faulk.
Marshall Faulk is on this list. Most ever. 4 seasons that Marshall Faulk's done this.
Tomlinson.
And then McCaffrey and LT, no.
What?
Yeah. McCaffrey and Faulk are the only two that have done this multiple times.
I am stunned that LaDainian Tomlinson's name is not on this list.
Yeah, 8 other guys have done this once.
How about
8 other guys?
Yeah.
You know who used to catch the ball a ton? I don't think he's on this list, but I'm going to give it a shot. Is Lenny Moore.
No anymore.
Like he
you're gonna
has big receiving.
CJ2K?
No Chris Johnson. Only 2 other guys before the millennium.
Okay.
They're both in the 80s.
I was gonna say, how about Saquon Barkley?
Saquon surprisingly is not the
That
most.
is stunning.
Yeah. I wonder what his most receiving.
Before the millennium. How about Roger Craig?
Roger Craig is on the list.
He caught the ball a lot.
85 with the San Francisco 49ers.
How about? So
Another West Coast team in 84. It's the first guy to do this.
Dickerson?
No.
Oh, Marcus Allen.
Yes, Marcus Allen, the first to accomplish this feat with the Raiders. Everybody else on the other side of 2000. Well, then Marshall Faulk did it in the late 90s.
Matt Forte.
Yes, Matt Forte is on this list.
How about Arian Foster?
No Arian Foster.
Maurice Jones-Drew?
No MJD.
Whoa. I am woeing at that, not what's out the window. I'm trying to parse. No.
Brian Westbrook.
Yes, Brian Westbrook in
Caught the ball a
07.
ton.
Great shout.
He caught the ball a ton.
Barely made it. 770 yards receiving.
That's when I kind of go with the guys that caught
Yeah.
the ball a lot. Le'Veon Bell?
Yes, Le'Veon Bell in 2014. Same year that Matt Forte was on this list.
In the early where's the rest
I'll
of them?
take a stab at Ray Rice.
No Ray Rice.
He catch the ball a lot, though.
Yep.
We have 06, 16, and 17.
It's not going to help me. I don't know why I'm lying. I'm thinking that's going to help me. It's 1 o'clock. Hey, we're still going to be on until 5 today.
Oh, man.
It's Griffin. Reggie Bush caught the ball a lot.
No, not Reggie Bush.
Man. Running
All
back
right,
for the
come on.
Falcons
It's
a bunch.
3 o'clock. I got to go.
In 06, he was a Ram.
Steven Jackson?
Steven Jackson is on this list.
I don't remember him catching the ball that
1,500 yards, 800 receiving in 06.
Okay.
And then who were the top fantasy backs in 16 and 17?
I'm trying to think. He played for the Falcons, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's that guy.
Yeah, he's got it.
You know who I'm
Played for
talking
the
about.
Falcons?
Yep.
Yeah.
Famously.
Michael Turner?
No.
Yeah,
I'm
before
pretty sure
that.
he's the
went to the-
Falcons' all-time leading touchdown scorer.
No.
No. Oh, I think I know who you're thinking of. Not the
Not him.
Falcons. I think he
You're
went to the
thinking of
Falcons
Warwick
after.
Dunn? Is that who you're thinking of?
He's thinking of Devontae Freeman, I think.
No.
No, it's not Devontae Freeman.
He went to the Rams.
Someone who finished their career with the Falcons?
I think he went there after this team that he started with. Let me double check.
You're thinking of Steven Jackson, aren't you?
No. Why?
Todd Gurley?
Yes, Todd Gurley.
That's who I was
Vaguely.
thinking
He only
of.
played for the Falcons for like a sneeze.
Right. Right.
Like he was barely a Falcon.
Yeah, he did. He was a Falcon in 2020 after being with the
Okay.
Rams his first 5 years. But yes,
Tried
Todd
at
Gurley.
Baltimore native Todd Gurley.
Was he born here?
He was?
Did he? Where did he?
I don't.
He didn't
he
spend
I don't
much
think
time
he
here.
definitely didn't go to high school here.
Maybe we'll get a bobblehead of him soon.
I mean, they actually was a famous. Like he came to Orioles games.
Did he?
Like I remember they had him like one year when they were trying to get Manny Machado in the All-Star game. They had like Todd Gurley like helping out with the campaign to get Manny, and that was I think how we all found out that he was from Baltimore. We're like, why does Todd Gurley care about this?
But yes, Todd Gurley was who I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other one,
He was a Cardinals running back.
oh David Johnson.
David Johnson.
Man, he had, for a
Oh
moment,
man, that's 17 fantasy season.
He was a
Yeah.
stud.
Shoo!
He was a
16 and
stud.
17.
God.
16 was the year that he
All right.
joined this list. But yes,
Very good.
David Johnson, DJ.
Tubular brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, still available, the best of issue. Get it at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores for free. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. And brought to you by the Stand the Fan Variety Hour. If the Orioles do something, I think you can bet that Stand the Fan will be talking about it. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Didn't do a show about the Tupac bobblehead. Didn't think it was necessary, but any moves, that'll be brought to you by the Costa Sin and the all-new, I guess it's not new anymore, but the newer Costa Sin in Timonium at the fairgrounds. The OG Costa Sin is where you're going to find Rick Dempsey 1 week from Thursday night, hanging out from 6 to 8 p.m. on January 22nd. Free pictures, autographs, just a great opportunity to get to the OG Costa Sin on North Point Boulevard and hang out with the 1983 World Series MVP, Rick Dempsey. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. If you hate yourself, Maryland's playing at USC at 10:30
And I got to
tonight.
stay up until
Yeah.
1 a.m.
If you hate yourself, Then you'll be watching Fox Sports 1 tonight at 10:30.
Looking for their first.
Maryland's still looking for #1 Big Ten win this season.
Rodney Rice isn't playing, right? So they have a chance.
Okay, I guess. And that's basically it. Monumental for Canadians Capitals tonight at 7 o'clock. Since you're all fake Capitals fans,
thanks. I'll be there.
Check that
and what are the Wiz doing?
Oh, you're going?
No.
Oh,
I'll be watching.
Okay.
Maybe
They're not playing.
Maybe I won't watch.
Everything else, go to glennclarkradio.com. Find it there, and all the college basketball schedule. Non-sports.
I think there was something. Poll the Poll with Will Smith on Nat Geo.
Isn't there another allegation against Will Smith that came out recently too? After he attempted his comeback.
Yes, during the filming of this documentary, he was allegations of sexual assault.
Yeah, not great.
Okay, well, he's traveling across the
good
world.
for him.
And it's on Nat Geo.
Yeah.
The time slot premieres episode 2 of Best Medicine.
Oh,
Yes.
right, yeah, with our guy Josh Charles.
Yes, and that's pretty much it.
Josh,
Hard Knocks, I think.
Josh,
the last one maybe.
Hang on. I don't know if I'm always supposed to read Josh's texts on the air or not, but he listens, so I think he would tell me if he didn't want me to. He did say, not going to lie, this game tonight makes me feel better makes last week feel better. And I was like, well, I understood, but there is also
other than the fact that it's like how did
you lose to them? Yeah, there is still that part of it. But like watching Aaron Rodgers, a sniveling prick,
there was only one series where he didn't yell. Like the first series, he didn't yell at his team.
It is a shame that Aaron Rodgers became who he became because there was a time where Aaron Rodgers was
discount, double check the
was
GOAT,
a
dude.
beloved figure in football.
Then he had to start talking.
Yes, and then he had to let us know who he was, and he's a sniveling prick. Like he's just a piece of S. There was a pretty good. Rita shared it. Hang on, Rita shared a really good tweet.
Stephen Colbert's gonna have Amanda Seyfried and Yo-Yo Ma tonight.
Are they performing together?
They might be.
That would be fun.
I would assume so, actually.
I think this is a parody account. Karen McGee.
No, Karen
tweets out.
Karen's
calling
child.
ICE because some thugs from a city near the southern border are beating the S out of an elderly Pittsburgh man live on ABC right now.
Man, he looked really
Pretty
old,
good.
too.
Should joke about that.
Pretty good. All right. Thanks today to Gerard Cherry. Thanks to Brian McFarland and to Brock Huard, who we're about to hear from. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the.
So Grace Van Patten, Madison Beer, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon are going to be on Fallon tonight.
At GlennclarkRadio.com. She's the one that's dating Justin Herbert, right?
Yep.
Good for
consoling him.
Good for that.
Does she sing? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what she is. Honest to God.
Singer, actress.
I just know that she's on the internet, and we're supposed to know who she is.
She's just like in Netflix movies or something?
I've never seen a Madison Beer film.
Yeah, I didn't know she was real.
There you go. Tomorrow on the program, anything?
No.
Oh, good.
Drew,
Not a show.
Drew will be here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not a single thing.
Drew, that's what we've got is Drew.
Yes, Drew will be here.
That's the list of things. Lord.
So shaved ice and
hanging on the rim.
Maybe hanging on the rim. Maybe he'll want to talk around basketball. You know.
He is a #1 fan. He might stay up and watch the game tonight, and he wakes up.
Definitely will.
God, he's a weirdo.
I'm here for the live tweets.
All right. What are we doing? Oh, yeah. Thanks to everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, your Baltimore area High's Dairy Stores, the Costas in Volo Sports, Nick's Fish House, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, countysports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday evening. Sure, go Terps. Go get them, boys.
Of course.
Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. Had to do it a little bit earlier because of his own radio show, but an opportunity to catch up with Brock Huard to learn a little bit more about another Ravens coaching candidate, Clint Kubiak, on GCR. Well, our next guest is always one of our favorites. I love talking football with this dude, and I am, as you know, very excited about one particular candidate to be the Ravens' next head coach, and I'm hoping that he won't pour any cold water on that for me. He is former NFL quarterback. He's a host out in Seattle on 710. Of course, you see him on Fox as well doing college football. He's the great Brock Huard. He's back with us now here on GCR. Brock, it's Glenn. It's always great to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Well, Glenn, this will be a short interview. Mike McDonald is not coming back to Baltimore. Okay, good night. Have a good day. We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you. Now, what if we offer? Now, wait a second. We'll give you a Harbaugh. We'll throw in a Todd Monken. Maybe even is that still not good enough?
No. We kind of like Mike out in the Pacific Northwest.
Don't blame you.
He's been pretty good, man. He has been pretty good for the old Seahawks.
It's an awkward one where we all love him, but like I would compare it to like if I break up with a girl, I I want her to be happy. I might not have treated her as well, but I still don't want to watch it. So this is going to be tough for me. I love Mike McDonald. I still don't know that I want to watch you guys win the Super Bowl. I still feel like that pain might be too real for me.
Well, there's a lot of work to do, and obviously the Seahawks offense and Sam Darnold can be a little bit like a nervous parent watching all that unfold. And honestly, I think Mike, and I know we're going to get to a different conversation, and you got questions about someone on his staff in particular, but I think for Mike, what Seattle shows you is how important fit is. And we talk about that with quarterbacks all the time. Coming out of the draft, system fit, coordinator fit, culture fit, yada, yada, yada. I don't think we do that enough for coaches. We kind of talk about the bad organizations and the dysfunctional organizations, but there's more than that. And I think what I've learned watching Mike in particular follow Pete Carroll here is what a terrific hand-in-glove fit he would be with John Schneider. His personality, his bluntness, his analytical decision-making. Coming off of Pete, it was such a terrific fit for all the structure that was in place and the marriage with John Schneider. And I don't know if that would have been the same had, there were 8 openings at that point. Mike is one of 4 that remains out of those 8 2 years later. Had he gone to Atlanta or he had gone somewhere else, I don't know if it would have been the fit and the success that it's been in Seattle.
Man, super happy for you, bro. Super happy for how it's worked out. Mike McDonald's great. We love Mike McDonald, and indeed, very happy for him. And obviously, it's been an amazing fit there. Now, that said, the Ravens did not fire John Harbaugh 2 years ago and elevate Mike McDonald, and I understand they were coming off an AFC Championship game appearance. I get it. But now they're in a position where they need a head coach. And Brock Huard, I worry that part of this is that I'm enamored with his last name, but I'm going to make some other points about why I think I have Clint Kubiak atop the list of guys that I am most interested in as being the Baltimore Ravens' next head coach. So before I get into any of my opinions, you're the one whose opinions I respect. Can you broadly describe what you think Clint Kubiak has brought as offensive coordinator in Seattle?
I'll go back to that hand in glove, not even complimentary, because everybody always uses that word, complimentary ball. And I think when Clint was hired and they went through that process and they interviewed a lot of coordinators last year, and there were some real sexy up and coming names and this young whippersnapper, and, Clint was coming off New Orleans. It was some good and some bad. In Minnesota, there was some good and some bad. But I think more than anything, there was just a deep institutional knowledge of the NFL. And when the pendulum swung off Ryan Grubb, who had 0 of that, you figured it would swing pretty significantly in the other direction for Mike McDonald. It's just wanting somebody that could handle that side of the building with a deep knowledge, decades in it, albeit still young, but a lot of experience as a 2-time play caller and coordinator, great rapport and relationships with a lot of assistant coaches, in particular the offensive line coach, John Benton, the old guy, veteran guy that he brought to Seattle. And it just kind of became a real slam dunk deal. And as the season just grew and grew and grew, I think you felt a lot of that continuity and the completeness, not even complimentary, but the completeness of this Seahawk team, with him really marrying his background and his kind of ball with the kind of ball that Mike wants. And yeah, man, it went into record-setting season in point differential and regular season wins, and obviously setting you up with the number 1 seed here in the playoffs.
How would you describe what a Clint Kubiak? Because I like, to me, what jumps off the page, Brock, is I love simplifying football, and when you have special playmakers, I want the ball in their hands as much as humanly possible. And from afar, admittedly not watching every game, it appears as though that's the most simplistic part of what I can see is, hey, that freakish wide receiver that you have, just keep throwing him the ball because he's going to catch it because he's that good.
Yeah.
But what else should we know about what a Clint Kubiak offense is?
Well, what we've seen here with our eyes, and I don't know if this is personnel, this is where it gets a little challenging, right? Because the personnel here with JSN, Sam, Cooper, you got a lot of grown-ups. Even your young guys, Charles Cross, who they just paid, Gray Zabel, who's a rookie, they're like wise beyond their years. They're grown-ups that just love ball. And Cooper, I think, was massively instrumental, Cooper Kupp, in this step for JSN and his growth. But what jumped out to me, Glenn, was how, like, early on these guys were on the same page. Remember that Sam and JSN have been together since last April. That's it. Not even a calendar year. And to watch them get on the same page and assimilate in this system this quickly. And that's the run game. That's Cooper. That's JSN. That's Rashid Shaheed, who comes in mid-season, and no one seemed overwhelmed. And that's a real compliment on what you said there, that you make the simple look complex and the complex look simple, and that illusion of complexity. And in order for all of this to happen in the expedited manner it has, there's got to be that kind of assimilation and that kind of detail and that kind of understanding. It's been really, really impressive to watch in just year one, and not even year one, like month 10, month 9 of this group all being together.
That trust thing, I think, is the thing that jumps out at me, because in Baltimore there have been some questions about how much Lamar Jackson trusted his offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and I can't speak to it specifically, and I know Todd Monken pushed back on it last week, but other players have told me it was very real. So does it feel like that was immediate, that like the players in Seattle had immediate trust despite Clint Kubiak maybe not having an extensive background and track record of success?
Yeah, I don't know if it's trust, like, oh my gosh, I just trust Clint. I don't think that's the case. And just as Mike McDonald will tell you, is the same way with him as the first-time head coach last year. But, okay, so here's the methodologies, here's the systems, here's what we believe in. I want you to trust that, because this is, a lot of it stood the test of time in this Kubiak and Shanahan tree, that you do this and you do this the right way and you buy in, special things can happen. So Clint's not a like this magnetic, huge personality. Like, he's not a Sean McVay. He's not like, but just this huge presence that walks in like, oh, I got to follow that guy. It's, and he didn't have a background, where all of a sudden, like, oh, look at this and all this Super Bowl wins and pelts on the wall. Like, he did some great things. Kirk Cousins had some awesome years, and Jordan Jefferson and Carr in the first half of last year before he got banged up. Like, there's some neat stuff here that he's done enough, but we got to like all be in this thing and jump in this thing together. And the fear that we have in Seattle and losing him, and I think we will lose him when you interview for 6 jobs and you're the number one offensive guy, and I think Atlanta, frankly, is the front runner, and we'll get to that. But, what scares me, honestly, Glenn, is like losing the O-line group they brought in, because it wasn't just John Benton. It was Rick Dennison and others that had so much experience and background. And the Seahawks, like the Ravens, are a quality organization and will spend money. There's no salary cap on staff. And, the amount of money and resources they spend, with basically like 3 esteemed offensive line coaches and personnel and people, like that to me was how this thing was going to turn and change. And the fact that Clint could bring those guys all aboard as well as his run game coordinator and the pass game coordinator stuck around, like, ooh, yeah, these people, they believe in the plan and the system, and now, they got to go execute and get it done to really cement that kind of belief, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. Brock Huard is with us here on GCR. Brock, there's 2 things I want to follow up on from what you said. One, it's interesting when you bring up like Rick Dennison's name, who of course was in Baltimore with Gary Kubiak back in 2014. That's one of the things that like jumps out at me about why I am interested in Clint Kubiak, is where I know people push back on, like, we love to use the word nepotism, but to me, I do think those connections, the ability to build a staff, I think it might be a little bit different than it would be for other first-time head coaches, in that I think he would be able to tap into that pipeline and build a staff that might be particularly unique in comparison to other guys taking a first-time head job.
Oh, I think that is true. And, how many of them would leave Seattle and do that? You mentioned Rico. Would he go back with him? Would it be Benton? What would that all look like? But you'd have a lot of folks that want to come work for him. The Kubiak name is one that is very respected with both father and son. They're not look at me guys. They're not narcissistic. I think for Clint to have been around John Schneider and Mike McDonald and watch the egoless, selfless nature of it just further further adds even more evidence to the way that, when that call comes and that contract comes to be the head guy, the way he wants to do it. Pretty good example through his life. And yeah, that would be, I think, a benefit for a first-time head coach, something different than Mike Macdonald, right? Like he swung and missed with Ryan Grubb. It was late in the process. It was very, very late. Seahawks had to wait for Mike. They wanted to get him. Yep. But, he had to make a change after 1 year. I think a Kubiak would have a deeper connection, certainly on the offensive side of the ball, to make that staff pretty darn comprehensive right from the jump.
Brock, famously, John Harbaugh was completely off the radar when the Ravens interviewed him in 2008, and immediately after one interview, they kind of all looked around and said, we might have something here, and that sort of was the story in Sean McVay in L.A. It sounds like your suggestion is that maybe Clint Kubiak isn't the type that's just going to bowl you over and, the proverbial win the interview in getting a job.
No, he will with substance. If you want flash or whatever, and maybe John and Sean did the same thing. And then talking to Kevin Demoff, the president there with the Rams, who I've known for a long time, that's what he said, to your point, like they just knew, and pretty overwhelming, his presence and presentation and all of that. Yeah, that's not necessarily, if you were to watch the 17 press conferences of Clint Kubiak this year, I don't think you walk away going, yeah, this guy's overwhelming, and, he wows the room and he, quote unquote, wins press conferences, but he wins relationships. He wins it over with players. He wins respect, and that's really all that matters. And as I said, I think you're going to be really vying, honestly, for, if this is what you want, Glenn, you're going to have to root that Atlanta hires somebody else.
So yeah, let's talk about that, right? Yep. Why is it that you have been leaning in? Because I know, and I saw you posted on social, you've been talking about it. Why do you think Atlanta is the most likely spot?
Yeah, I think it just checks a bunch of boxes. I think it's south of the Mason-Dixon line, and I think he's a Southerner like his pops was. And I know Dad was an OC up there in Baltimore. But
legally speaking, Baltimore is south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh,
just
there
barely.
You go. I
just barely.
Well, then Atlanta's a lot farther south, where the speech pattern's a little similar to Clinton Gary's, and just a little, slower pace than you Yankees, even though you're not a Yankee up north. I guess you're mid-coastal, whatever.
Yeah,
but,
mid-Atlantic is what we call it. Yeah.
I think the GM thing matters, too, being able to start afresh with a new GM there. That's nothing against Ozzie and I know he's retired, but he's still around, and Eric and Costa and the rest of them. Like, man, they're obviously incredible in what they do. But, yeah, I don't know. I've got he's young. Matt Ryan is young. He's going to surround himself with young. Obviously, Lamar is tantalizing. They're going to have to figure something out with that cap with Lamar and all of that.
Yep.
That would be you would think, a better option for what he likes to do than maybe a beat-up Michael Penix or an old Kirk Cousins. So you'd have to really, kind of lay into that. Maybe now Dad has been there, so he knows everybody there, and maybe that's the case for. I don't know. But this is more of a gut feeling. This is a little bit of sourced information of, I think Atlanta's really, really hot to trot with him. And, you've got a division that doesn't have the Steelers or Joe Burrow, and a division that I think is much more ripe. And, oh, by the way, a pretty good running back. If Lamar is obviously an MVP QB, Bijan is 22, 23, and exactly the kind of centerpiece the centerpiece, the Christian McCaffrey kind of guy that can make a coach and a play caller look pretty darn good.
Man, I don't know if Clint Kubiak would be the Ravens' top choice, but it would be wild to me to lose out when one quarterback situation is settled and the other one is kind of iffy given the injury history. But I get it. Let me pose it this way, Brock. Knowing what you know, because I was chatting with Mike Golick about it last week, and like he said, the Ravens uniquely, the spot they're in, they should be looking to hire someone with experience. That they're not resetting. They want to win a Super Bowl right now. And we know that rookie head coaches, although Mike Macdonald might be doing it in year 2, we'll see, rookie head coaches do not have a track record of winning Super Bowls. It's been since George Seifert that a rookie head coach has won a Super Bowl. Should experience matter? Like, should they be looking for that? Or do you feel like, that a rookie head coach could step into that situation? The situation is so good that would make up for that lack of experience with a rookie head coach.
It'd be a little challenging. I mean, that is a mature, fully bloomed culture there in Baltimore, to Mike's point. And what like that's a lot of grown-ups and grown men in that building that have been so darn close to it. And when they have the patience, to walk through the learning curve that any young coach, rookie coach is going to have to climb. And there is a learning curve. Mike, ran up it last year, but there was still a learning curve, and talk about those changes he had to make and had to pivot away from Gino and pivot away from DK and pivot away from some of those that I don't think really fit into the DNA of what he wanted. And it took a season to do that. And obviously year 2, this thing is flying, and they're poised to, have an awesome path to a Super Bowl. So I would probably lean a little more that way, that the time is now. The window is now. Lamar's best years, are they in the rearview mirror? Is there still enough there physically to play these 17-game seasons and into the playoffs and all of that? Like, I can't say there's 3 or 4 more of those, in the same vein that I could look at the last 4 or 5 years that were right there. So it is now. And I think there could be some. It's funny because if they were in last year's cycle, Mike Vrabel would have been an unbelievable home run to me. Like, that, and if it was 2 years ago in the cycle, obviously Mike McDonald from within you would have elevated. Is there that guy? Is there a McDonald or Vrabel in this cycle? That will be to be determined, and a lot of homework there for the boys in the front office.
Brock, if you happen to bump into Josh Bynes this week, please, that's one of my favorite human beings on the face of the planet. I want him back no matter who the head coach is in Baltimore. I need Josh Bynes back. That's my dude. He's the best.
Love it.
And a Super Bowl champion in Baltimore. Brock, is there anything we can plug for you, man?
No, I'm good, man. Glenn, you're always fun to talk to, and obviously 17 years, the Brock and Falk Show is still rolling in the mornings in Seattle on Seattle sports, and we have a great time. And as you know, in a market, the difference between your team being a viable Super Bowl contender and not, it's night and day. The emotion, you feel it through the phone lines, through the text, through the viewership on YouTube and all that good stuff. So we've got it between the Mariners and the Seahawks.
Can I ask a dumb? I know I've kept you long, but I got to ask this question. As a player, did you ever buy into the vibe that those of us on the other side preferred when the teams lost? Because I've dealt with that with a lot of fans where they'll say that to me, like, you guys like it when the team loses. And what you just said is definitive explanation of why that's not even remotely true.
That's right.
The life.
Yeah, I think it's different in every market. The Pacific Northwest, you lose, folks go hiking and kayaking, and they get away.
Out. Yep, 100%.
In Detroit and Dallas and Baltimore, Philly, I don't know, man. They like to, they like to have their pound of flesh a little more than the passive-aggressive Pacific Northwest.
Brock, you're the best, brother. Always appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on.
You got it, Glenn. Take care, bro.